Hello everybody, welcome back to our third matchup. And if you've been tuning into both of the streams on both channels, you know how good the matches have been so far today. I'm Taro, I'm joined by Kickstar as always, and instead of us casting the Ninjas in Pajamas Liquid matchup as we were slated to do so, well, we're going to be doing FaZe Clan versus DarkZero. Because the other match is going a little bit longer than anticipated, and because of this, Blue and Stokes are not available to cast just yet. So we got a different Latin American team though.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do 3 in a row because we are selfless heroes wearing turtlenecks today, and I was gonna make I should have said not all heroes wear turtlenecks. But we do.
Well, now it's known to be a joke, right? Just
because it's not all heroes wear capes.
Right.
Not all heroes wear
But here we are.
But here we are.
Yeah, so we've got a really exciting matchup, I would say, in FaZe versus DarkZero, one that I think a lot of people are anticipating.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed because I wanted them to do like the longer break or whatever, and we could be like, so, you know, we have a longer break than usual, but we can get to.
Well, it was gonna be like a 4-hour break we were gonna take because those 2 matches were so quick. That was the thing, and then since we're doing a fixed schedule instead of a rolling schedule, it's not like everything moves up or anything.
Yeah. So once again, just a couple reminders. First and foremost, there is another stream going on. If you want to watch the main channel, you're more than welcome to. Oh, apparently spoilers. Spoilers, it's over.
Just happened.
It just finished. But there is Empire versus Fnatic up at the same time as this matchup, so you can watch that. You can do a couple things. I said you can buy multiple computers. You go to an internet cafe and just, you know, just commandeer a couple machines, or you can just use multi-Twitch or open up.
You got options. You
got so many options. Also, the prize pool right now for the Six Invitational sitting at $2.5 million, but you have an opportunity to help the players hit $3 million, the highest prize pool that we've ever seen by a country mile in Rainbow Six. A couple ways to do that. There's the Battle Pass, the Premium Battle Pass. 30% of all of those proceeds go back into the prize pool. Additionally, you can buy Pro League skins, you can buy the Pilot Program skins as well. So there's an abundance of opportunities there. If you want to put your money where your mouth is, as we so much say that people want the sport to grow, this esport, then do what I did and do what you did and buy the Premium Battle Pass or buy skins or buy whatever. Just help out, you know, or don't. You don't need to, but if you want to, go ahead. Anyway, our matchup today is FaZe Clan versus DarkZero. We'll get into the rosters. We'll start off with FaZe Clan.
So FaZe, Unimav, Astro Cameraman, and Ion. They've been looking okay. Not, you know, tip-top form. There's been a couple stumbles, to be honest, for FaZe in recent history, and they're working their way at securing their position as a top team in the Latin American region. They've always been, like, if you look really far back, they've always been that team. They've always been them. It's FaZe and Liquid, right? If you really take a think about it. But the difficult thing is that there's always stumbles along that path, and recently FaZe have been stumbling a little bit more than usual, I would say. So they're going to need to work up some serious gumption, I think, for this particular tournament.
Excellent term for it, by the way.
Thank you.
Gumption.
This is the right moment for FaZe to step up, and we find that they can change gears quite rapidly, this team. So it's entirely possible they come out of this swinging hard.
Are you suggesting that in order to pick it up, they will need to phase up? Michael?
FaZe up. I'm doing the thing. You guys can't see it because I'm not on camera, but I'm doing the thing.
Their opponents are DarkZero, so one team is going FaZe up, the other team is going Dark, and that's DZ here. Now, if you haven't tuned in since Tokonami, it's a different look. There has been a split of Pro League. Half of the season has already been played. You might have missed it, but that's okay. Skies and Eclipse added to this roster from the wreckage, the smoldering carcass of Rogue as they were relegated from North America. Eclipse found a second life, and from the ashes rose as a phoenix to join DarkZero. Skies went from Reciprocity. He was picked up by DarkZero in a trade where Nyx went over to Rec, and the rest of the gang, Mint, Houghton, and Hyper, have made up the core of this roster for quite a while, which is crazy because both Mint and Hot and Cold have been on this team for many years. And for them, this is actually the first Six Invitational that both Mint and Hot and Cold are competing in. They have never been competitors here, which is wild to think about.
It's kind of weird, yeah, because they've been competing since the dawn of North America.
Yep.
They've been here way back in the start, and same thing actually for Eclipse. But of course, he's got that experience. But
he's played in many, to be fair.
Yeah, he's played in those invitationals.
Yeah.
But he's been around just like Mint and Houghton on this DZ roster since the very start of competitive competitive Rainbow Six. And even technically Skies, though, that was back on Xbox, and we don't talk about those days. That was a long time ago.
Skies is one of only 4 players who have competed in every Six Invitational, but on separate consoles, one of which was obviously Xbox, and then 3 seasons on PC. He is the distinction of being a world champion, as does Laxing on Team Reciprocity and Bosco competing on SSG. So these two teams are going to clash, and we've seen them in the same group 2 or 3 times now. They were in the same group at the Raleigh Major as well, if you recall, alongside Fnatic. So this is basically the same group, except it was 4s in their group, and this time it's Empire. So, you've got Russians, but different Russians, and I think most people would say Empire, probably a stronger team than 4s. I would reckon. I mean,
arguably, there's been some moments, right, where 4s have one-upped Empire, but very rarely. And generally speaking, if you look at the history, Empire does better. So the last time that FaZe was in this group, they actually didn't play against DarkZero until the end, until the decider match. And FaZe actually got that 2-0 in the group stages, allowing them to move forward into the playoffs and actually denying the spot for DZ way back when. And these are the maps we're going to be playing for this tournament. Of course, I was just talking about Raleigh. We've got Bank being picked by FaZe, Coastline being picked by DZ, and the decider will be Villa.
That's crazy to think that we have yet to see this diversity in the map pool in comparison to the other side of the stream. Clubhouse has been played by almost every single team, but Coastline and Villa will be interesting to watch. The man on your screen right now, Brandon Carr, aka BC. Well, he's competed in a couple Six Invitationals as a player, but he's now going to be joining the coaching staff of DarkZero. And in fact, him stepping off of the roster from DarkZero is what paved the way for Eclipse to come into DZ.
Yeah.
He brings a big old brain. Probably one of the smartest and most strategic people I think you could say in this entire scene. Bacon is still doing coaching duties as well, but it's BC who's going to be the man behind the team, and he'll be the one in their ear whenever there's a tactical timeout or a technical timeout should things go awry. But with no further ado, let's queue up Bank, and we will go into the very first map between these two teams. The score, if you're following at home, FaZe Clan defeated DarkZero 2-0 all the way back in Raleigh. I guess you could call this a rematch, Michael.
Yes, in a manner of speaking.
Will the North American team fare any better? Well, if you watched earlier today, and spoilers, I'm sorry for you to have to hear this, TSM and Space Station were both victorious in their matches, so they will be competing to leave their group tomorrow as the #1 seed overall. Reciprocity fell just painstakingly short to G2 in the matchup that just transpired. Either you're happy or you're sad. It doesn't really matter.
The crazy thing is we almost had a complete sweep for North America over Europe through the matches that we've seen played today.
Yeah.
Not quite, but very narrowly. Now, it is going to be ban phase here. We've been a little distracted at this point, but we've got DarkZero with the final ban and the first ban. They decided to get rid of the Habana, Capital, and Echo, and now Mira. So the defensive ban's very standard. On Bank, the attacking ban's also very standard. Capital, really dominating force in any battlefield, regardless of the map. It doesn't matter. He's good to get rid of. As for Habana, she is really proficient at opening up drop-downs. And on Bank, that is a very powerful tool. So getting rid of her makes a whole lot of sense to make the basement defense even easier.
Yeah. So Bank is a very neutral map. We said this if you watched our previous broadcast in which it was BDS versus Wildcard. Bank tends to be a very neutral style of map. It's influenced quite heavily by the operators that are banned. In this case, why is Hibana banned as a hard breacher? Well, because it makes opening up those drops significantly more difficult. But for most teams, it's not that much more difficult. It just means that Maverick is going to be a little bit slower. And Maverick can only open up 2 hatches, whereas Hibana could get all 3. Just means that you need to be a little bit smarter with where you put Thermite's exothermic charges. I am a little surprised, I will say this much, to see FaZe running a very standard operating lineup. And I say this because FaZe is notorious for incorporating a Montaigne and a Finca into the way that they play on a lot of maps, 2 of which we will see today, well, 1 of which we are guaranteed to see, which is Bank. The other is, of course, Villa. They love running the Finca on those 2 maps. So I guess FaZe will likely keep it in their pocket unless they think that DarkZero matches up well against that and can counter it. We will see, but for now, very first round, the very first defense of DarkZero will be in the bottom floor. And if you notice a couple things, is Mute, Vigil, and Mozzie are working together inside of open area to shut down intel. There's a Mute jammer at the double doorway leading into staff area. The Vigil was playing inside a small office. Mozzie is actually up top. They've opened up one of the hatches, which Eclipse will sit over top of. So this is a very heavy offsite play for DZ onto a site that doesn't necessarily need it.
This is 3 anti-drone operators holding them, holding offsite right now, and that's really interesting to watch. One thing that also might be happening, we can't be certain because we don't know exactly where those Evil Eyes are placed, but the Evil Eyes could also be used on those main lanes to deny drones in an extended fashion without actually risking any of your players. Depends on what you want to do with them. I don't imagine that's happening. That's probably one in garage and one in the actual security bomb site, so you can deny plant. But yeah, lots of anti-intel on the defensive side, and we'll see how that affects the drone economy later on, of course. And we'll base our judgments on that from what we're actually seeing from the attackers, how they are taking engagements with the defense. Generally speaking, we see a lot of, when it comes to these types of roams on bank, we see a lot of attackers losing their life to just lack of information more than anything. And that might be the case here. Depends on how DZ plays it. So far, they've been pretty passive. DZ, that is. FaZe are being really attentive to the roam right now and are clearing out effectively and efficiently. It looks like everybody's fallen back there from DZ. So yeah, smart play and fair play from DZ as they fall back. As we hit around the 1 minute 30 mark, I think is when they fell back. Safe time management from DZ. That's good. Yeah, they didn't do anything wrong, and they didn't cost themselves anything at all. Just I guess, like a little bit of extended utility.
Cameraman trades a flash onto the top of server stairs for one toxic canister thrown out from Mint. Now, DarkZero will keep somebody at the top of server because they know that you need to hold that like most teams. But the key difference here is that we've seen, especially in the BDS matchup, that you can kind of just ignore it and move somewhere else. Opening pick between these two teams, these two juggernauts, will come in the hands of a Nitro Cell, and it will be DarkZero. Shotgun blast out, frag grenade goes down, Mint secures. That's a very risky gambit. He pushes on up. There goes a flash, and down goes Yuna. Everybody's feeding themselves to Mint. So it forces somebody from FaZe to have to go through Dirt Tunnel. It's going to be Astro. Diffuser has been surrendered up top at the stairs inside of server. Who will be able to go get it? Walking right into the sight of the Vigil as Astro. Hyper gets him. And it's Eclipse with the shotgun out to take Ion. A flawless round. Not a bad pace to set for DarkZero. Unlikely sustainable. I think FaZe might be able to get 1 or 2 kills at minimum over the next, round or 7. But DarkZero still gets the start that I'm sure they wanted.
Really big one there for DZ, that's for sure. Pretty standard strategy. What they did is they went for a roam upstairs. They opened up one of the drop downs so they could fall back when it was necessary. DZ fell back after they had wasted half of the round. And all of that time that FaZe invested in clearing out the roamers felt like waste to FaZe. When you let all of those roamers that you know to be there slip through your grasp because you're being too thorough with your clear, it just feels like, oh wow, they outplayed us.
Yeah.
They got away. They're safe. And that's an uncomfortable place to be if you're FaZe. After that, what did they do? Well, they tried to rush in through those bottlenecks. Didn't get much done from it. It happens. It does, but it's tricky when you see it like that on the live stage.
We're just taking a pause for a second here as one of the players has a technical issue that is being worked on, so we'll get back into the game in just a moment. From our perspective, since we have access to this information, it looks like it's going to be a Teller's Archives defense for DarkZero. They're bringing a Mozzie, but it hasn't been 6th picked yet, so there's still time left for something cheeky to come out, but DZ is going to be tripling up on information operators. Given that there's a Pulse, a Valk, and a Maestro at least presenting. For FaZe, it's the exact same lineup that they ran before. A lot of teams have really struggled to clear out Mint in the way that he plays on the server stairs. He's very adept at being able to bait utility. He often does so without a deployable shield. And as a smoke, he earns an awful lot of respect from his adversaries. Looks like Teller's Archives will be locked in. 6th pick on the board will just simply be Skies picking the Legion. So another information operator will be coming in, but this one is a bit of an annoyance, a pest if you want to call him that.
Mozzie.
No, Legion.
Okay.
I was making a joke about.
See, I thought you were making a joke about the pests. Like, he's a pest.
Michael, we rehearsed this.
No, but there's a lot of those operators right now on the defensive side. You do have the Mozzie being brought, and he is also a pest. Legion, definitely one of the more annoying operators. 2 C4s being brought, likely even, no, 3 actually. I love how we have access to that now. We can see it. There's 3 C4s being brought, and very limited barbed wire on DZ. Though that's not the end of the world with the way that they are probably going to be covering all of those default angles. They don't need to have barbed wire for advanced warning. So much information, by the way. Technically speaking, every one of those defensive operators is an info op.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's very true.
You could kind of call Legion a pseudo info operator if you want to be pedantic, but I would really put him in the information category more.
He's so many things, but I mean,
yeah.
I think the 10 damage that you're doing is not really considerable, and
it's about the info.
It's about the fact that a trap will trigger, and you'll see which of the little goo mine icons on the map disappear. You'll know where they're coming from. It's an annoyance, and then he grows stronger as the attackers lose access to their drones. So if a Mute or a Mozzie is there, you find yourself in really tough waters because you can't always be looking at the ground to see if there's going to be a goo mine where you step in.
I like the whole 5 info operator lineup because, one, it's versatile. It works well with the soft destruction that is abundant on tellers. And I think more importantly, information has always been the most important thing for the defense. And it is still very important. And bringing in a bunch of operators that are going to help you with that is, why not, right? What is that?
I don't know what that is. That is feedback of some kind.
Okay.
It's coming. I touched my talkback box and it made a weird noise. So.
Oh, okay. Let's
just hope that it's not going to blow up. But already some work from FaZe Clan has been done. It's been on the CEO wall, and this IQ will pay dividends. There's one goo mine and another goo mine. Look at that. And a third goo mine. Oh my goodness. Ion is just getting all the points right now. He's having, I hope he's having a great time.
I'm sure he is.
I hope he's having a really good time.
He just got a lot of utility chipped away from Skies. So like we said, a versatile operator, Legion, he can be used for utility, or he can be used to make a push down a staircase really difficult. That was the idea there for Skies, but the IQ is going to mitigate that.
Clips knows he's in danger as a portion of the ceiling above him blows wide open. He engages, doesn't hit a single shot. In fact, no shots have been hit so far. Everybody's at full HP with 45 seconds to go. They're all under the gun. For a brief moment, Mav sees an adversary but cannot land the shots. Doesn't even try to as he circles back and realizes that he had a missed opportunity. Sky's right now on the hunt, but he turns his back to Ion. He gets shot through the side. Opening frag will go to FaZe Clan. They'll add to it with one from Cameraman as well. That's an excellent start for FaZe, but they don't have a ton of time. The problem with Teller's Archives is that it's a mighty pain to hold, and you can see Mint will probably give you that same testimonial. So Hot, Cold, and Hyper in a 5v2. Diffuser goes down. Some damage being done from the Aldon to Astro, and 80 bullets will leave an awful lot left for Houghton to just be able to chew away with. He gets down though, and it's nearly a flawless round from FaZe to answer back the flawless round from DarkZero. Didn't we just see this? But no, I speak too soon. Caster's Curse appears for Hyper. He gets one impactless frag, and then Unit finishes off the job. Diffuser down, FaZe will take the second round.
So a solid 1-1 to start things off here in this series. I think the expectation is that this is going to go just about as far as it possibly can. And, well, I mean, it's early yet, but we can continue to believe that that is going to happen based on what we're seeing so far. CEO up next. Now, that attack was primarily based around the top 4 control for FaZe. Now, the interesting thing for me is that there was a lot of potential C4 from below on DarkZero's side. None of that happened. I'm sure they threw and missed, and that's unfortunate, but what we do know is that the strategy that was stacked into by DZ when it comes to those C4s and the operators selected really did not pay off. I'd say the biggest reason it didn't pay off was IQ. Ion, specifically. Not only did he get so much utility with his IQ gadget, but also he managed to deny the flank of Skies, who came up the main staircase. Another thing, I'm surprised that Skies did that solo. There were a lot of players who could have gone with him, and I would have expected there to be like maybe 2-3 people pushing up main stairs if you're going to go for that retake, but Skies went for it by himself. I don't know if that was, advisable. That's the word I was looking for.
Words are, they're tough, Michael.
They're difficult, I don't know. Anyway, what we do know is that it is a 1-1, and right now, it's looking like it's going to be one of those lockstep matches that we dream of.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
I think these two teams have a real potential for sparks. I think that the matchup that they had in Raleigh was a bit of a letdown when you think about it.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, FaZe Clan they were the only team they were the only Latin America team that made it out of groups, if I remember correctly, and they ended up making a deeper run in Raleigh than we expected. They gave that shocking 7-1 victory, or they had that shocking 7-1 victory over top of Empire on Clubhouse at the time where Empire looked like they could not be stopped. So FaZe can very much heat up, and while they did have a bit of a setback with Tokonami, being unable to play with Ion, they had 9XT in as a sub. I think a lot of people had the assumption that, hey, with Ion, the way that FaZe was playing, Tokonami could have potentially been theirs to lose, and we didn't really get to see their full potential while we realize it here at the Six Invitational.
And yeah, you were right. FaZe were the only Latin American team to make it out of groups at Raleigh. That was a different time, though. Whoa, okay, speaking of different time, there's kills going on, and everyone's dead, just like that. Hyper, the last DZ player left alive. FaZe in a 3 versus 1. Okay, what an entry. The DZ didn't let go of control, to be fair to them, but they come out decisively at a disadvantage here. Lifeline's going to make Hyper's life very difficult here in the 1v3. As he gets hit for a second time, he's eliminated by Cameraman, and what a collapse from FaZe. It happened faster than I could even track it.
Excellently played by FaZe. They just walked right in and bullied everybody from DarkZero on attack on Bank. If you look at the situation that we have right now, it's a Hibana and Capital ban on Bank, which is very normal to see. It's very commonplace. It doesn't really put the attackers at a major disadvantage. Mira and Echo for Bank maybe tilts Bank into a position where you're looking at a 55-45 split based on the way that teams play. There's no real clear advantage as to whether an attacker or a defender are, have a stronger side. It's so you look at it and, well, in this case, right now, FaZe is doing an excellent job of picking apart DarkZero, especially over those last 2 rounds.
Yeah, definitely. That round was pretty solid for FaZe. There really isn't, the problem is there's not a lot to talk about because the way that the engagement played out, FaZe never took their foot off the pedal. They were constantly just go, go, go in that round. And it's really interesting to watch, but there's not a lot to analyze because of how quickly it happens. What we do know is that DZ, while they tried to stay in that brawl with FaZe, while they kept themselves in the engagement, they didn't allow FaZe to walk away with the man advantage easily. They were forced to have FaZe walk away with the man advantage because they lost too many fights. But respect to DZ though for not giving up on the fight. You gotta hand it to them. Now, we are going to be seeing a bottom 4 defense again. This is the second time we'll be seeing the bottom 4. This is the only bomb site that DarkZero has been successful on thus far. Going into the 4th round. If DarkZero is successful again on this bottom floor, it will be their 2nd win, but the tricky bit about that is if they can only win the bottom floor on defense, then they're going to end in a 4-2 favor FaZe because they've looked, and by they I mean DZ, have looked really not great everywhere but the basement.
This is FaZe's map pick, and Bank is a good map for them.
Yes.
They were the very first team to defeat Evil Geniuses back in 2018 internationally on Bank. EG had never lost Bank before.
I remember that.
We did cast that match.
It was a long time ago.
That was that was our 2nd event together, Michael.
What is this? What is this event? Like our 7th or something?
Are you kidding me?
No.
So many.
I don't remember. They just kind of they blur together. You know how it is.
We are the longest established casting duo in Rainbow Six history.
Are we?
Yep.
Oh.
We have casted, I mean, I don't have the exact numbers on it, but outside of like amateur casters, we've casted the most matches together.
Devin's casted one more tournament than me.
Right, but I mean, the thing was that Milosh, we'll get into it later, but that it was funny, because somebody pointed that out to me the other day, and I was like, oh, son of a gun, we are. There's the very first kill. Speaking of son of a gun, it's Ion to gun down Eclipse, and another opening duel that is surrendered by DarkZero, going in favor of FaZe Clan, losing somebody like Eclipse, who likes to play on a roam style alongside either Hyper or Skies. Not what you want to see. This defense downstairs is, well, it looks very similar to what we saw out of DarkZero last time.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking good for DZ. The only difference is that they lost the one player here, whereas the last time, okay, I'm not sure what that was. And you can see Mav is not sure what it was either. Just to get that out of the way. He hit the wall, and his nade bounced back. Obviously misaiming that nade. At the top of the stairs, there's going to be another smoke, and this time Mint's not going to get a kill. He does get it down onto Mav, so some damage done, but that's not enough on this situation. Beautiful shot from Hyper, and perfect pre-aim as well. Hyper will persist in server. He continues to try and hold on to this. 2 people on the drop. 1 drops down. The second follows. There's a second kill for Hyper, and he's going to get dispatched by Yuna. So good hold in server. He manages to make FaZe pay. And with only 20 seconds left and C4 in Skies' hands, this is definitely very winnable for DZ still. The rush is coming in, though. They're going for the frags, and here's Hot and Cold to hold them true. Here goes one more in the red hallway, and a second for Hot and Cold as he pushes the site. DZ take their second round.
These teams are going to be just as back and forth on this map. I suspect that we are going to see 3-3 on this side, and, well, I don't think we've had overtime yet. We haven't had an overtime yet in a single match.
None of ours.
No, but I'm trying to think back on what I saw of SSG and Na'Vi, and then what I saw of G2 Rec, and
I actually don't know. I don't know.
I don't believe there has been, so.
We've only caught glimpses of those matches because we've been casting these matches, so it's hard to say. But, yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't seen. I know we haven't done overtime. Most of our matches have been really quick, actually.
Right. They very much have been.
That's why we. So we were scheduled to do 1, 2, and 4 on the stream because we figured that was how it would play out, right? Yeah. And that would, but the way that it ended up playing out is since we're doing number 3, we're doing number 3 because our first 2 matches on this stream were so quick that we would have had a 4-hour break between 2 and 4. So we had to adjust. It was really weird. Don't usually see 2 matches go that quickly when they're right next to each other like that. I don't think this will be one of those kinds of matches, though. I fully expect DZ FaZe to be a rather drawn-out one and pretty intense competition for the entirety of this one. At least I hope so. FaZe are certainly showing up. DZ are showing up. That's always one of the questions that we have. FaZe and DZ both fall into the category of team where we are going to question going into an event, are they going to play well or are they going to play poorly? And I know that kind of sounds obvious, like, oh, are they going to be good or are they going to be bad? But both of these teams have a history of either doing really well or doing really poorly, and right now it seems like they're both doing really well. Early pick here. Astra goes down to Hot and Cold. Who needs an ACOG, I believe? It was Hot and Cold, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think Marcy was telling us.
Marcy, are you telling us? It was?
I think he's telling
Marcy's telling us.
Yes,
it was.
He's saying yes.
So yeah, who needs an ACOG?
Who needs an ACOG? You just play 4x3, that ratio for you, but...
Does he?
I don't know. Just say that's what you can do. FaZe Clan have run the exact same lineup. The tools of the trade are obviously good enough for them. They don't need anything else. This is an open area defense, so every single site has now been played by DarkZero. And they've busted out very different compositions almost every single round. The only difference was when they went down 2 lockers, they ran the same operators every time. So now, well, if you look at it, they're going to be running a Goyo for the very first time. They've got a Maestro back in action. They've got the ACOG as well. So this is going to work very effectively if you don't see FaZe be able to take control of tellers and then from there move into archives, which is usually where you want to start. It's a bit of a premature toxic canister. I don't know if they're expecting a rush from FaZe here.
It's possible. Mav's going to drone out archives, but he doesn't check the corner. And that's Vigil anyway, but still, bad droning there. A little bit of damage done from Eclipse onto Mav. I say a little bit, actually a lot of it. And everybody on FaZe will die to 1 bullet, which is going to give a strong advantage to DZ. Mav, the last player alive, will eliminate 1 inside of Archives. He's going to find Hyper and Houghton, meanwhile, who are positioned much further afield. Diffuser down inside of B. This does not look very winnable for Mav.
It's going to be a challenge, but he's going to do his best to drone. Like you said, only 1 bullet is really what's going to punish him. And the diffuser being dropped is going to be the greatest obstacle that he has to deal with. Red dot or a holographic C8, okay, fine. But it's 1 bullet, and it's very rare that on land that you engage in a fight where you walk away unscathed. He'll creep on in. As you can see, Hot and Cold will reposition and spots Mav first, and that'll be the round for DarkZero, who regain the lead.
Solid round there for DZ. And yes, indeed, the regain of the lead, that's really big. Now, Open is not typically defended. DZ, though, is the type of team that tends to pioneer bomb sites, which they are trying to do here and now in this match, as it seems. Well, I don't know, pioneer is really the right word. As it's been discussed in the past, actually, Bank is one of the very few maps that has been in competitive Rainbow Six since the start, and still is. So everything's really been tried. Pioneer is the wrong word. 4 years later, it's the wrong word. But it's, I don't know. DZ is the type of team that sets the meta. They're on the razor's edge. I think that's a better way to put it. CEO.
Attackers need to locate and
bomb site.
I mean, we talk about it a lot, but I think that FaZe has some innovative strats as well. Especially
They are one of those teams, yeah.
They both are, and I mean, I think a big part of DarkZero is that they have a really good assortment of players that are skilled enough to be able to take advantage of going with the unorthodox. G2 is a team like that. Liquid is a team like that are just exceptionally talented, but also have a keen eye for trying something new. Space Station is a team in North America that's been doing that as of late as well. So it's funny, because then you get a team like Empire, who doesn't really do anything different. They don't really take that many gambles. They don't take chances. They just kind of do the same thing that's very standard, and they're just better than everybody most of the time. So just a stylistic choice, I think you could say.
Well, I've talked about this at length when it comes to strategy. There's an ebb and flow to things, what's balance, or what works and what doesn't. And there's different mentalities or how you can come out on top, whether it's relying on your players or relying on your ability to prepare for something, or maybe your ability to strategize around something. Sometimes things that you do in your strategy become predictable and counterable, and they put you at a disadvantage when you bring them. And sometimes those things are so random in their nature that there is no possibility of encountering a disadvantage when you bring them out continuously. I mean, it all is so. There's too much to talk about, really, for just like a 1 minute, 2 minute segment. But that's one of the beautiful things about Siege, is that there's just so many different ways of interpreting your own team's position in terms of strategy or reliance on skill. Anyway, again, too much to talk about for right now. What we do know right now is that FaZe has cleared out Tellers and Archives, and from there they can use Mav's nades and Skeleton Key to open up below the anchors. That's why you see both of those players droning. They want to make sure they're not going to get flanked, but also they want to see if they can find someone upstairs. There's that anti-flank cam from Astro, while they're trying to see if they can get some targets above them.
You still feeling a 3-3?
Honestly, we're hitting about the half round point at for DZ. That's a lot of time wasted. Right now, it's looking a little bit like a 4-2. But knowing FaZe, and they did this the last time they attacked CEO, knowing FaZe, they could get an explosive win in just the gunfight, the team fight. It's, I believe, that hacked drone from mid there.
Yes, and significantly slower take from FaZe Clan as you hear one set of destruction go off.
2.
And both walls on CEO have now been opened up. This lean that we see inside of the janitor closet by Skies has been undetected. Nobody knows where he's positioned. He's got a hatch that he can just drop down if he wants to, but he's not going to go for it. Not yet, at least. One smoke goes off, so that's Skies with just, I guess, a bit of a warning flag that gets flown out to Yuna, and Skies heads on into conference room. First kill comes with 33 seconds on the clock. Hot and Cold Dispatching Cameraman with a Nitro Cell. Perfect time for Hyper to stim himself up as well. Yuna's in. He'll take out a Valkyrie camera and look to go for a plant with Astro covering on the windows. Ion inside of Skylight. There's lots of coverage, and now Mav down below. But where's the C4 going to come from? Ion guns down Hyper. DarkZero gets called on over to Square, but FaZe is locked out for now. Hot and Cold does some magic work on his own, and he'll put it into a 2-2. Still on Repel as Astro, and this is where things get really, really challenging. Hot and Cold and Skies are there. Mav gets down, so you're going to have to fly out the window, distract him, go for broke! There it is, Hot and Cold, 4 kills! And it'll free up Skies to go for the defuse if he was not downed. So Hot and Cold will now need to run on back in. There's no way he's going to make it, and he knows it. Nowhere near enough time. Heartbreaking. But that's the round for FaZe Clan. It's a Pyrrhic victory for DarkZero. The Marathon Mile for Hot and Cold. He's not even going to make it back to the diffuser in time, and it's a 3-3 split through the first half.
If Skies just wasn't exposed to that North Repel, maybe some poor communication. We did see some hesitation by the Valkyrie on the run out. He was about to go for it. He was so close. And then he hesitated. 1 second of hesitation there for Hot and Cold on the Valkyrie. And that cost Skies his life, and thus the round.
I think the idea was that they wanted Skies to distract Astro so that they could vault out the window and be able to take advantage of the Zofia not looking at the window, which I can't say is a bad play. I think that's pretty smart, actually.
As long as he doesn't get downed or die, because you have to have, if Valkyrie's going to vault, you have to have one more player in the site. Otherwise, there's no way you can win. So, I don't know. It's difficult. That's
a disappointing round, but it looks like it's going to be a tactical timeout, likely from DarkZero, in order to try to cool their heads. That was a winnable round for them. It was a winnable round for both teams, if we're being honest. But
actually, I think it's technical because
it is.
Yeah,
it's a technical timeout.
We're missing one player right now, so we're waiting on that to get fixed up, and then we'll get everything started back into play.
This is good for DarkZero, though, because that is a very tough round to lose. They will have a time, or at least a series of moments to be able to discuss with each other as to how to fix this or how to not get yourself into a bad mental state.
Something that's really interesting is that, remember how we used to talk about how defensive lineups and operators are always so rigid? We're seeing a lot of attacking lineups be the same over and over and over again. And this half, FaZe used the same operators every round. That was Astro on Zofia, Cameraman on Maverick, Yuna on Thermite, Ion on IQ, and Mav on Buck. No change ever on that. Whereas on DarkZero's side, there was constant iteration, constant change. Operators getting moved between players, like Mint played Smoke, but so did Skies. Same with Mozzie, Mint and Skies. Legion only got played once. Valkyrie was played like 2 times. You know, there's a lot of different little changes, too many to list. It's kind of interesting when you see stuff like that come out. That's BC, for those of you who don't know. Ex-pro player, now one of the coaches for DZ, one of the managers, I guess. I mean, he is standing behind them, so I guess we're calling him the coach in this case.
He's the coach. Absolutely, yeah. He's the coach. He's taken over day-to-day coaching responsibilities from Bacon, and, you know, I think Bacon is likely doing more analysis stuff, I guess.
I mean, we don't know the ratio, but it's up, you know, that's up to their decision-making. But what we do know is that BC is the man standing behind the team right now. And given his professional background, and as you said, being one of the biggest brains in Rainbow Six Esports, I think that's a really powerful force to have behind you if you're DZ, and I'm sure they're happy for it.
Still announced after, it was announced by Bacon actually, after the Tokonami finals that was his last go at it, behind the bench. And of course, some iconic moments in Rainbow Six Siege esports history have had Bacon standing behind his team, most of which when he was the coach of Evil Geniuses, and then very briefly the coach of this team before they got picked up for DarkZero. But his influence, I'm sure, is still strong, but you've got to trust a team that has BC behind it and the brains that come with that. I don't think I've ever heard a single person who has spoken ill of BC or his capabilities. So
yeah, I mean, just to talk him up a little bit more, like, not only is he a smart guy, but he's also probably one of the most, like, adult people in the Rainbow Six community. It's a weird way to put it, but
very father-like figure.
Yeah.
You can say the same level of compliments towards Twister. He's currently coaching FaZe Clan. He had a tenure with Ninjas in Pajamas as well when they were one of the top teams in Brazil. So he's somebody who brings a wealth of experience and a calmness to that FaZe Clan team, which we have seen on a number of instances maybe get a little bit too aggressive in, you know, a loss or something along those lines. So.
You know what's something actually that we failed to highlight, I think? Hotton, in that last round that they lost, got a 4K.
Yep.
And then he got a 3K the round before. Hotton's been, well, he's hot today, it seems.
He's always hot on Bank. Tokonami on Bank?
Yeah, that's right.
You remember seeing him on Maestro? Extremely strong and talented player on this map.
Playing Maestro that first half too for the majority of it. Not all, but majority.
I'm very curious here if, I mean, Eclipse 6th picked over to Ying and is running her shotgun. I'm not sure if the shotgun was a deliberate choice for Eclipse or if it was just simply he couldn't get it set up in time.
I want to hope that it's deliberate because that means he's got a plan. The really difficult thing about that shotgun is that it is only useful in some select scenarios. And on a map like Bank, those scenarios are few and far between.
Yeah, but it's great for server stairs and server control. Think about it. You can
it's
toss
a specific
down
tool.
Just press right in. Exactly.
Yeah,
so.
I get the specific use of it. It's just that once you're done with that, that the difficulty is, oh, are you using your pistol for every other engagement? Because there's just so many long range fights, even in the basement of this map. I mean, but I do understand. Yeah, shotgun, server stairs makes sense if you think you're gonna hit a problem there, and that is entirely possible. Maybe that was their thought process.
I was going to compliment how quickly Mint was being able to take care of those hatches inside of open area, but I don't know. Oh, missed opportunity as there's a flash in hand, but Eclipse is just going to go for it, taking a ton of damage, and he'll rush down, and that is, oh, a missed opportunity. Almost had it. Hyper gets the refrag, but Eclipse does just a tiny bit too little damage, and that would have allowed that ball to keep rolling as the Ying could have now pushed into server. There's nobody there. So you don't have to worry, but my oh my, poor Eclipse.
So you're absolutely right, Parker. The Ying deliberately brought the shotgun to deal with the player at the top of the server stairs. That player was actually at the bottom in this case, and then therein lies the problem with that shotgun. A good adaptation from Yuna, and he manages to punish DarkZero before being killed.
They see a Valkyrie camera on the other side of that doorway leading into lockers, and they'll ping at it. So somebody will have to take care of it. They don't know who it's going to be, but it will give information about the plan, which is going down. Hot and Cold right now is prone. He does not manage to get away in time as that C4 from Ion comes out.
That's a fault on Hyper. He wasn't in a position to shoot the C4, and that's what allowed his teammate to die. Second C4 does miss, though. Ion will get Hyper, so not a lot of coverage in the server, and there's just not many people on DZ left. It's all on Skies now as he pushes into the site. Gets his second kill for this round. He'll have to find 2 more if he wants to win this, and he has to regain control of his diffuser. But the drop-down's opened up. It doesn't seem very likely. One player at the bottom of server stairs. One player now on site drop-down, I think. Directly behind him, Skies has no chance, and Astro will lock that one up. FaZe take another round in the first of the second half.
Excellent shot calling from FaZe as well. Once they had those kills and the execute was coming, they knew that they had one member of DarkZero that was unaccounted for. That push came down the main stairs, and Skies found the Maestro, but then everybody else at FaZe, knowing they had diffuser down in default spot, they scattered on over towards server, and they had hatch control, as you'd noted, because DarkZero had opened those hatches earlier on. Very well played by FaZe, and all of it really came down to that first push, that server stairs, the missed opportunity with Eclipse, and then DZ's lack of coverage onto that C4. Nobody kept Hot and Cold safe. It wasn't juggled properly by DarkZero, and then it just becomes that rhythm that we say where C4s get tossed, you get refragged, somebody goes down, you might need a second person for the diffuser, etc. Everything went according to plan. It looked like a very textbook open and shut attempt to plant that diffuser. DarkZero had inadequate coverage, and then FaZe responded beautifully after they had everybody from DZ off the board and knew that the push was coming from the other side of the map. You can just waste as much time as possible. So FaZe's very first defense goes quite well, and very minimal objective play overall on a map like Bank.
Yeah.
This is obviously very different from the BDS wildcard matchup we saw earlier, where there was a diffuser planted almost every single round. So far, we've only had 1 through 7 rounds. Well, we see that on the CEO defense now, as it's a second floor crack for FaZe Clan.
We've been seeing DarkZero.
Crack at the second floor. Crack at the second floor. I can't speak.
Okay. We've been seeing... Don't worry about it. I can't speak sometimes, too.
Thanks, buddy.
We've been seeing DarkZero try for the objective play. We saw them in that last round. At least we've only had one attack round from them, so it's hard to say really what their overall objective is. But they just, they couldn't get that diffuser down. And actually, ultimately, the lack of control around the diffuser is what I think cost DarkZero in that last round, really. Now, in this round, Skies has decided to go... Well, actually, you could say back to his roots in a way. He's playing on Ash. Hyper is gone. Ion will likely be punished for this. Yeah, as he decides to stay where he is. Is there no one to punish him? Is there not one person?
No, not one person.
That's, okay, DarkZero could at any moment punish Ion for his current position. So he did manage to get Hyper. That's the Thatcher gone, which means the batteries on the walls are likely to be slower to be destroyed.
Ion is still out there. Eclipse is down below.
He just wasted a nade on that?
He dropped a nade on him. He knows the position. Eclipse is going to have to head on over, and now Ion will get finished off.
I mean, Ion really got a lot out of this.
No way. He's going to win that shot, and absolutely. Everything goes according to plan for Eclipse.
So much time wasted.
Yeah.
Just wow.
Excellently done.
And he Skies will get the batteries from below, so at least there's that. It's not all over because the Thatcher's gone. The biggest thing from Ion actually isn't even just the kill. It's just the sheer quantity of time he wasted.
It was over a minute. That was over a minute of Eclipse not able to do his job. That was over a minute of Eclipse using a single frag grenade. So very well played by Ion in order to keep DarkZero from being able to complete the tasks ahead of them.
So there are, of course, going to be some... Looks like some Valkyrie cams in the site there, maybe, for FaZe. Lots of information that Mint is going to have to deal with. Eclipse will get Mav, though, so that's the second kill for DZ and for Eclipse individually. That's definitely a Valkyrie cam. That's a really well-placed one, actually, isn't it? I've never seen that one before. It's in the light, kind of in the corner. Makes it hard to shoot from the wall.
A lot of people actually that have talked about DarkZero and at least drones as they get them into places that you never imagined a drone could possibly get into. Contest from Skies down below onto the Valkyrie of Cameraman. And while FaZe trails in numbers, there's not much time left for the attackers to be able to pull this off. But one kill from anybody on DarkZero might be it for FaZe. Astro finds his magic, taking out Eclipse. That gets gunned down by Mint, so at least if you're DarkZero, you're trying to keep it even. Yuna's been down, so it's Cameraman in a 1v3. Diffuser's going down by Hot and Cold on the desk. C4 is going to get tossed, will not connect. DarkZero will get the play down. What a drop! As you see Mint hit the ground, and he breakdances right in front of Cameraman. No chance for him there at all. DarkZero holds on, and it's, once again, tie game.
Yeah, this is the lock-set match that we expected it to be. Interestingly, that round, FaZe got the opening kill, they had a good setup, they wasted a lot of time, and yet they still couldn't make it work. Eclipse put in some pretty big work there himself. Not only killing Ion, who had run out earlier, but killing Mav. And I'm not really sure what happened with Mav. I don't know if it was... I
don't know either.
Maybe he was peeking the north windows, maybe he tried to go for a run out. Whatever it was, Eclipse was like by the front door outside, and after Mav died, pretty much FaZe fell apart. They didn't have enough manpower to risk any plays. That's never where you want to be. And it's okay sometimes if the enemy's manpower is even to yours or lesser than even. But in this case, it was, FaZe who was at the disadvantage. And DarkZero just used the superior manpower to push in through the holes that they had opened up despite losing their Thatcher. So well played to DarkZero, gotta say. A little bit surprised that FaZe couldn't hold that one out. Look at that, Parker. This is one of the really big impact holes on the bottom left. Sometimes it makes a really big graphic, sometimes it makes a really big hole. It's inconsistent.
Jeez.
5 seconds left.
This is what I wanted. This is what I really wanted of the first two matches. I wanted this to be as...
Close?
Yeah, as close as it could be.
Competitive. Yeah.
I mean, every single series, with the exception of one, has needed a third map. But they haven't all been even matchups. They've just they've just been even series, which is okay. I mean,
It's the end of the world.
would you rather take two? Would you rather take two maps that are really close, or a best of 3 where teams, win decisively and there's drama heading into the third map before the result happens?
2 maps that are really close, probably.
I mean, it was a rhetorical question. It was more just like a what would the
Either one, right?
Yeah.
I think it doesn't really matter that much as long as you get some competition. Well, that is, we all do it. I do that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
It happens to me so it's weird. Where the drone, I feel like the drone comes from below where the bullets come from, and it kind of changes your perspective. Well, obviously, I don't know, the bullets actually come from the sight in this game, but but I mean in terms of like where it's throwing from, it just feels different. It's kind of awkward.
So I guess C4 was ready. I don't know if Hyper was the target for that. He's upstairs inside of console office. He's got breaching charges, so he can do a little bit of soft destruction. Exothermic charge will go off as well, so DarkZero opening things up. There goes the hatch. Hyper gets the very first pick, but not long for this Earth, as Astro is there to avenge his teammate.
So that's why you do 2 on a retake on those stairs, and not just the solo player. And when we saw Skies try to do that, he just got shut down, and it was that. But because there was 2, DarkZero are the ones who get punished. Ion has also made it up into CEO. He's managed to get Eclipse. He will be eliminated by Houghton, who's got some really great awareness there to secure that kill through the walls. DarkZero not out of it yet. I mean, it's even man count now after that kill, actually.
Hot and Cold has been having an excellent matchup so far, and he's been hot. You don't want him to go cold, as he has in other series where he'll have a really good game and then fall off. But fragging well on both attack and defense, both sides of the court, if you want to refer to it as such. A little apprehensive about whether somebody is downstairs. As you can see, there is patience being committed from DarkZero, and then the final exothermic charge will go off onto the break room wall with just the IQ waiting and watching very patiently.
Well, that's a really good breach there from DZ. They can do a lot of work with it. They got to be careful of how they aggress on this, though. Yuna falling a little bit back, but he's still got that ult that he can stop multiple people from pushing in here at once.
There's Hot and Cold waiting to push in. He's got the Maestro staring right at him. Astro picks up his second kill, but it's 2 for Hot and Cold as he takes out Yuna. Plant going down, Skies through the wall will absolutely send Astro to the Shadow Realm, and Defuse should be successful. Mav will not be able to get back in time. Can he land a couple shots that are needed? Skies is low on HP, Hot and Cold is at full. There's 40 seconds left for them to be able to get this diffuser. There are some marks, and if Mav can be able to rotate, then this might work for him, but he gives his position away inside of Archives. Gets swiftly ended by Hot and Cold as Mav only peaks for a second, but that's all it takes. DarkZero will regain the lead in the seesaw of a match between these two titans from both Brazil and North America.
Who needs an ACOG, says Houghton. First thought is when Mav loses that fight, it's, oh, you can't beat that ACOG on the 5.56, and then he doesn't have one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful shot there from Hot and Cold, and beautiful plays from him and Skies and DarkZero in general to take that round. 5-4 now for DZ. Lockers will be the next bomb site, but we'll have a tactical timeout from FaZe before we get there. That's appropriate. This is the right time to just take a pause, deep breaths, think about what we're going to do moving forward, how you're going to change the outcome of these rounds. I mean, it's not definitive, right? I think it's really important, and it doesn't seem to be, maybe Yuna's not aware of this, but it's only 5-4. You haven't lost yet, man. You still got time, all right?
No shortage of time. So, it's our first tactical timeout, as the other two were both technical timeouts.
You have some of those. It happens.
They've been far less frequent.
Oh yeah. So for those of you who are like new to Rainbow Six, maybe, technical timeouts are now unicorns, when in the past they were, I don't know, goblins everywhere.
On land, they were a little bit more reoccurring, a little bit more common.
Frequent.
Yeah, a little bit more common, if you want to say that. So
yeah, but we're past that now. We are into the infrequent stage.
As many bombs as they can.
Now we're going to the basement defense here for FaZe. And, I mean, this should be a pretty solid bomb site for them. They've got plenty of denial. Something that I find incredibly interesting is that they, instead of bringing a Maestro, they've decided to bring a Doc. That's different. It suggests more of a... I mean, it suggests that Mav wants to play a specific angle.
Yeah.
And he's got to bring the ACOG for it.
No, I've been impressed with both teams' flexibility now. Obviously, FaZe Clan ran the exact same operators on attack all 6 rounds in a row. DarkZero has not done that. They've actually had a couple flexes. Both Skies and Eclipse have been fulfilling that 6-pick/flex role.
Yep.
Just as we saw a lot of defensive variety from DarkZero, we're seeing the same thing from FaZe Clan. So they brought a Doc when they were playing CEO Lounge, and it was Mav that was playing on that role, as he is now. Didn't really have the result I think that they wanted. If you recall, you don't really remember seeing what happened with him. He just kind of perished. Fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I remember. I'm pretty sure he peeked out these north windows, one of the sets, and then Eclipse just saw him win the fight.
Yeah.
Makes sense that he would go for the peek, though, if he's playing on Doc. You could lock down a player if you know where he is. What we do know, apart from that engagement, is that DarkZero currently in the lead, but it's not done yet.
And this lead has been so tenuous between these two teams. There has been absolutely no guarantee that you were going to be able to hold on to that. These two squads have been very close to one another, so we'll see what they can put together. This is the same entry from DarkZero that we saw previously, just to open up this hatch. You don't actually need to outline it. It is not Mario Party in that one mini game where you had to draw the shape, and then whoever did it best got the star. It doesn't work that way. You just got to do enough damage to the actual hatch.
It's a set amount of ticks from the blowtorch that will open up the drop down.
And you can open 2 hatches if you are good enough and don't waste the blowtorch. But it's, I was gonna say blowhorch, and I was like, what's a horch?
Were you trying to? Were you think? I thought you were gonna say blowhorn
or hose.
Never heard. What is that?
Well, a blowhorn's not a thing. Bullhorn.
Oh yeah.
Those words happen. Are DZ going to be able to do anything with the server stairs? The answer is yes. Opening frag and then immediately trade it off. And in the midst of the smoke is Hot and Cold, but he's not taking any damage for it.
The smoke, the sphere of damage is poorly defined, and the graphic is not directly connected to the sphere of damage.
Yes, there's almost a kill for Skies, and 2 members of DarkZero are now down. Finished off is Skies. Zastro gets his frag, and Hot and Cold is retrieved upstairs. An advantage favoring FaZe Clan, and of course they're going to win this round because no team is capable of stitching together more than 2 rounds, at least hasn't been since round number 5. Inside of Escape Tunnel is Eclipse. He goes to toss a simple flashbang in and loses most of his HP and then gets blinded by Hot and Cold. Oh my goodness, DarkZero, everything falling apart for you. And all we hear is tinnitus. Cameraman's on cams and, well, he lives up to his namesake. Mint goes for 2, gets them. 20 seconds left. Air jab also will knock 1 member of FaZe over. So there's information now that Mint is going to have at his disposal. But he'll go for the death drop. He'll twist and turn and have to find 1 member of FaZe before he can find the other. But both FaZe Clan members will find him as it's a deadly crossfire established. And the timeout obviously working for FaZe as it's 5-5.
These teams will not let go of each other's lead. There is a constant back and forth here. Not in terms of individual rounds, but really just like in terms of, I don't know, that no one's running away with it. It's good to see another match like this. Ion and Hotton, the standout performers here. Hotton in particular has had quite a lot of multi-kills. He's had 2 3Ks and a 4K. And that's a lot for one player through this map, not even through this whole match. It'll be CEO defense next for FaZe.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
CEO has not been kind to FaZe in the past. They lost it. They also lost open area. But the basement is the only bomb site FaZe has won. And now, since they've won it twice, they can't go back to it for the remainder of this half. So, FaZe will have to win 1 defense on a site that they have thus far failed to win in order to get either overtime, 2 if they want to get the win. There's going to need to be change on the side of FaZe.
10 seconds remaining.
DarkZero, on the other hand, in a good position, I would say, overall, despite this being a 5-5. considering the past results from these rounds.
Attackers must locate and defuse.
There's a Valkyrie camera outside onto the tree. We also saw one that was quite cheeky on the side of the building, by the northern windows. Yes, Marcio, I know you know where it was. Thank you. But no, CEO was not kind at all. Though FaZe did get the opening pick, DarkZero still ended up taking the round. FaZe be able to fix that? Well, when you take a tactical timeout, Michael, you don't just simply talk about one, you talk about two options or more and what strategies you want to bring. And Mav is going to bring the strategy called I'll get the opening pick, and it has a 100% success rate in this round. So the Doc upstairs, when we last saw him on CEO, was not particularly effective. We talked about this time around, already getting a pick on Disguise. And with it being a CEO defense, that means that the Zofia could position herself down below or on rappel on the windows, and you're not going to have those stuns, you're not going to have that coverage, you're not going to have that soft destruction. That's a huge opening pick for FaZe.
Clips opening things up on the windows. He's going to apply a lot of pressure to the north rappel. And everybody in CEO and Lounge and pretty much the whole bomb site. That's what makes North Rappel so powerful. It's actually one of the few rappel positions that is still frequently used in this meta. A rappel play is not something that you want to be on. It's very dangerous. But
super exposed, you don't have the same mobility, you're slow.
And even this one especially is actually really exposed to so many things, but it is worth it. Always.
There's a lot of jump outs. Air jabs do not stop that. You can't use gridlocks, track stingers.
Yeah.
At the top.
Main lobby will get you too. If an enemy doesn't want to vault north windows, they can just get you from the main lobby. So you have to have something covering that. A drone for information or a player actually covering that with his gun. No matter what, it is still worth it for the attackers because of, look at these angles, for example. Clips is cutting off rotation between the bomb sites, and he might even get a punish out of this.
And there's very few ways to be able to get rid of him, barring somebody from the defense going down to the main lobby. But no, not for now at least. There's a kill for Hyper as he's just extremely patient. Frag grenade primed and ready for Eclipse gets tossed on in. It'll be some small area denial, but nobody from FaZe is in the vicinity. Both these teams now at a 4v4. Mav will overheal himself, as Yuna will need one of those stims, but he'll die before he can get one. The dog of Mav losing some HP. Plant going down from hot and cold. He'll fall off as he hears somebody move on in ever closer. But he's protected. The only thing he's really vulnerable to is a C4, which Cameraman will find onto Hyper. But good objective play from DarkZero, and then an immediate kill for Mint. You noted how strong this rappel is for Eclipse. Somebody's going to have to dive over the top ropes from FaZe, which will leave a 1v1 on site. Trying to cut off a flank. There goes the Jaeger as Mint just watches, and now the job for FaZe is even more challenging. Mav went down to the lobby to see if he could do anything about that rappel play from Eclipse. No, the answer is spotted on drone is Mav. He's in a real rough spot. He has 2 stim pistols left, but it's not going to do much when he's vulnerable trying to get that diffuser, which is planted over in the corner in the body of the thermite. He's just going to go for broke. Why not? But when you're working on that diffuser, you show up on the IQ sensor, and would you look at that? Smart play from Mint to be able to lock the round out at its match point for DarkZero.
Really smart utility usage from Mint. And now FaZe have to work against this hill that DarkZero have managed to build up. That's 6 rounds in total for DZ. Okay, that last round. The North Rappel was never nullified for FaZe, and that's always been their problem when it comes to the CEO defense. We did see the run out one time, I believe it was from Ion, who was having a really good match. Wow. And yeah, he managed to get the player on North Rappel, but then DZ rotated another player over, and suddenly it's not a problem for them. DZ also got Mav, who peaked aggressively on that north window. So 2 for 1 in the favor of Eclipse. In that round, though, Mav managed to get a spawn kill with Doc and started the round off really well for FaZe, and you'd think that would make a change, but no. There was no refrag immediately, and you'd think that would make a change. But again, no. DarkZero are just too proficient on that top floor attack. At least that's what they've been showing us so far. And the real tricky thing about that is that FaZe, they're going to have to go back to CEO. They could have gone to open area. That was an option. They could have gone to Tellers. Also an option. But FaZe are sticking to their guns here, trying to make it work. See what they can do. I mean, honestly, FaZe needs to do something about the North Repel, yeah. They also have to worry about how they're holding Janitor. Or not Janitor, rather... No, yeah, I think that's what you call Janitor. Yeah.
You call it paper?
I call it paper, because there's so much paper.
Michael. I mean, there's paper in an office. Do you call that?
No, but I mean...
No?
I just heard the call once, and I was like, hey, that makes sense.
That's not a bad call.
It's not a bad call. It's just it's not a normal call, and I recognize that. I'm working on it. But what we do know is that that position has been poorly held by FaZe.
Yes.
Through most of these rounds, DarkZero have placed a lot of effort and focus on dealing with the player inside of Janitor. And the reason is because if you've got that player dealt with, you don't have a crossfire to confront you when you enter into CEO.
Where did that drone just go? Oh,
to the frame.
I felt like it disappeared into the Matrix.
I don't think so, no.
I was like, remember there was that one time when somebody droned on Coastline and flew across the map? And I was like, whee!
I've had that happen to me before. It's really interesting.
But match on the line now for FaZe Clan. This is their pick on Bank. Next up is Coastline. That's DarkZero's pick. And then after that, we got Villa. We got Villa as the tiebreaker. We have not needed overtime yet. Will we between these two teams? Will we get to hear the Brazilian casters scream overtime? That is the real question. Wall opened up inside of CEO. Two members of DarkZero and Skylight Stairwell right now staring very intently for somebody from FaZe to peek on out, but nobody's giving them an inch. FaZe very patient for an aggressive team.
Nade poorly placed there from Eclipse. Nothing comes of it. You can see that Hyper's going downstairs. The reason he's doing this is he's trying to deny any C4 from below when the CEO push comes out. He's also going to take care of Cameraman, who might have been spotted in the main lobby. Skies gets Ion as well. And suddenly, on map point, we have DarkZero up 5-3.
Really good entry for DarkZero on that first floor. They've also cleared out the roamers. So if you're FaZe Clan, you are going to be enduring an onslaught in a 5v3 at the hands of DarkZero as they look to push on into the site. 45 seconds. Another frag grenade will get tossed on out. That's possibly for utility. Maybe it's just for an errant player off-site. Who knows? This looks like the ACOG in the hands of Mav, and he'll win the fight just narrowly against Hyper. There's not a lot of people who can say they do that on LAN. Really well played by Mav, and he'll be able to stim himself back up as well. Back over 100 HP, so for Mav, it was like he didn't even fight at all. Still DarkZero with a numbers advantage, just by 1. You hop in the window and go for the plant. Hot and Cold's going to hold on to that diffuser. He's going to need to just get in at some point and go for it, but there's nothing happening. Down goes Hot and Cold. 2 for FaZe as their guns come alive. Skies is there to tag out, but overtime is looking exceedingly likely. All Astro needs to do is just stay alive. Skies gets down with diffuser. Mint will need the frag, but no, he'll be very, very slow to get on. And this position for Astro will go in, and we've got overtime ahead of us. Astro with a huge round by the skin of their teeth, and you can see we are all Mav's reaction as he exhales. Sophia almost able to get back up, but Astro coming in clutch. We'll need more than the 12 rounds to settle this one.
FaZe will get defense in overtime. DarkZero on attack. Thus far, this map has not favored the attackers or the defenders. It's been pretty much the same for both teams. Actually, it's perfectly uniform. 6 attack wins, 6 defense wins. And here we are. So, no real inherent advantage to the overtime situation. Could go either way. Astro really waking up there at the end when it really mattered. Same thing for Ion. Ion's still been carrying a lot of weight for his team. Across the board, DZ is having strong performance.
This is why it was so tough for FaZe to lose Ion for Tokonami. Not just because you have to now last minute find somebody to step in and assume that role, responsibility, learn your strats, etc. But also you can see how Ion is capable of taking over a game. He plays a lot of times very thankless roles. He helps with the shot calling alongside Yuna. He's somebody who brings a presence to FaZe that is not easily fixed or not easily replicated / replaced. So he's obviously making up for lost time now, playing on LAN with the rest of his team. And DarkZero comes so painstakingly close to being able to lock this one out.
And it would be devastating to DZ if they're not able to in the long run. Yeah, overtime. It's a crying shame if you're DarkZero or a DarkZero fan. But they're not out of this yet. If they do lose this, though, oh boy, are they going to be upset about that result. Now, keep in mind, this is a best of 3. So you can see at the top of your screen, for those of you who don't know, the way that this works in the best of 3 is those 2 notches, little gray areas in the colors at the top of your screen are the amount of maps that have been won by their respective teams, the ones they're closer to. So top left, those 2 notches are FaZe's maps won, and on the top right, those are DarkZero's maps won. And whoever wins this will get 1 little yellow notch instead of a gray one. And then when you get 2, you win the best of 3. So we're not done yet. We're just starting this match, as long as it has been, given the close competition we have here.
This is far from over with these teams. Now, unless DarkZero is able to just knock it out of the park on Coastline, then we're going to have a very close matchup, regardless of whoever's map it is, because FaZe is not a terrible Coastline team. They're not the strongest. DarkZero definitely has the edge on that one. But while DarkZero is a good bank team, FaZe is an extraordinarily good bank team.
That's true, yeah. And right now we're seeing, I'd say, a pretty impressive performance for both teams in terms of bank. This is a really aggressive peek from Astro. He was droned out, and he had no recourse other than to peek. So you can't really blame the guy, I guess, for going for what he went for. Unlucky, the gamble didn't pay off. Someone should have opened the drop down for him before he went in there.
All they really do is use a single drone. That's all it took. And now this soft destruction will go in to open up walls so you can watch from main stairs, you can watch on server stairs. Ion finds Mint. I don't know exactly where Mint was, but the Maverick, you best hope he was able to get the wall open. There's another for Ion. 17 kills before he's traded out by Skies. And both teams will lose the same amount. But no, it doesn't actually look like any of these got opened up, so Mint getting taken down by Ion, this could be a very bad situation for DarkZero.
Let's take a look at the... Did his breaching charge just destroy the exothermic? It might have. They expanded the radius at which those breaching charges destroy things. I think that they probably just outplayed... DarkZero just outplayed themselves.
If that's the case, no, because
what else happened?
Spooky magic.
Is there an evil eye in there?
That is very likely what might have happened, yeah. Oh my goodness, if that's the case, DarkZero might have just buried their own chances.
I don't see one.
We will hear as there was a breaching charge that went on, but we've got action.
Yep.
DarkZero will now have to bail themselves out of significant trouble. Sky's creeping on up. There's a crossfire established. 3 guns will be looking at him, and he gets torn to shreds. Hot and Cold's next on deck. And no, the only person who's able to get anything is Hyper. FaZe with 3 kills, and now they'll sit on match point.
The only thing that I can think that was is either an evil eye in small office, which I did not see one. I didn't hear the zaps, or the breaching charge radius, which was expanded quite a while ago, but it was expanded, destroyed the exothermic.
Yeah.
It's possible. I really want to know. I wish so badly I could ask DarkZero what exactly happened there, because they would know.
Looks like it might be a timeout now for DarkZero. A good time for them to take it. Match on the line. They didn't need it earlier. They didn't want it earlier. I don't know if there's some frustration setting in. There's been a number of small mistakes that have been committed by DarkZero. These things tend to happen. An example being the Ying play, unable to capitalize off of that. Hot and Cold going out the windows, lack of coverage from Skies getting down inside of the site. Hyper not covering as well when there was a C4 that was thrown.
The last round, they didn't drone out the entirety of open area, and Ion got 2 kills from that, just playing in open area.
That's a hard one to find, and especially for Mint, like we said. The Maverick unable to do that, and then the exothermic charge getting blown up as well. Those are 2 things that, honestly, those are fatal wounds to a team in that round.
I mean, we're at the level of play here where just tiny little mistakes will cost you the entirety of the round and potentially even the match. And we see sometimes, here and there's these matches where a team is just not even engaged in that whole momentum shift with those little mistakes being a thing. Was Mav's face.
I love watching Mav and cameraman's reactions to everything, to absolutely everything.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, they are just extremely animated. When something goes wrong or when something goes right,
they are.
The team can be in free fall, and they're still
animated,
emoting well.
So, as I was saying, all those little things at this level of play, you know, they get punished. And FaZe is the type of team, they're going to capitalize on that. They're going to take the round, say thank you very much, and move on with the match. It's the same thing in the opposite direction, though. I mean, FaZe have made mistakes, too. That's part of how we got here to a 7-6 result, which for you and I, at least, this is the first time we've had such a close map. But it's still not done yet. What we do know is that DarkZero can bounce back from this. They just took their tactical timeout. They just started to think about what they want to do. And I'm sure that BC laid out a plan for the next 2 rounds.
Yeah.
So DarkZero could certainly win this.
No, I mean, it's definitely doable. And like I said, even when it was 6-5, I thought there's still a lot of this matchup to be played. I don't suspect that this is going to be a quick one, but it's been a great back and forth so far.
Yeah.
And these teams are really, they're giving each other the gears the same way that I would have imagined we would have seen out of the first 2 matchups today, though they were not quite as close, especially that Rogue TSM match. That Rogue TSM match I thought was going to be significantly closer than it was in terms of round score.
More like this.
I thought this is what we were going to see as well, but TSM were just by far and away more prepared through maps 2 and 3. So, anywho, would hope that in this case FaZe has droned out the top floor and that middle floor as effectively as DarkZero should have the previous round, lest you lose somebody needlessly.
So far, what we're seeing here is pretty effective clear from FaZe. I don't know if there's any roamers. There might be somebody by the server stairs on the defense. Yeah, no, there's just guys hiding inside a gold. He's going to give a lot of information when it comes to the server clear. FaZe have effectively cleared out all the roamers. Now all they need to do is hold on to the lanes. Those are the 2 staircases, the server staircase and the main staircase, that allow you to rotate up from the basement. And as long as FaZe does that, they can execute exclusively onto the server and hit that site.
Mint has only been able to take 1 person down, if that, on server stairs. And I think the call was made by DarkZero, be it during the timeout or just simply in-game calls, that Mint is going to be better served playing, just lying on the ground, waiting.
Look at this angle from Hyper. The reason he's doing this is he can allow the C4s to land.
Oh my goodness.
No
Those
way.
bullet holes, he's just looking for the Maverick. Can he deal damage? Yes, he can on the cameraman. That is a devastatingly effective angle. Yuna's been down now as well. That's the diffuser dropped onto the ground. Somebody will need to pick it up. And it's their turn to do the dance with the devil. Hyper still holding this long angle on onto Yuna. Not that much needed because he was so low on HP. Plant looked like it was going to go down, but has been aborted for now. Garage angle being held from the Alda in the hands of Hot and Cold. He just needs to do his job and not worry about too much. Hyper sees the drop, narrowly missing out on the IQ, but it's eclipsed there. He has his teammates back. It's all Mav now in a 1v5, a flawless round for DarkZero, my goodness. And 13 rounds, every single one required between these 2 teams.
Okay, I want to highlight something that I find just truly impressive there from DZ. A lot of you might be wondering why Hyper decided to go for that long angle fight. Why is he committing himself to this? It could go easily against him, especially against the assault rifles that the attackers bring to bear with those ACOGs. That's a dangerous task for Hyper. And you're absolutely right about that. Not only that, but it also cuts down the sight. If Hyper loses that fight, basically, DarkZero have lost control of so much of their bomb site just from one angle in server. Now it's it's reversed. The attackers now have the advantage because you open up those holes for them. The reason Hyper went for that fight and the reason he was holding that down is to deny the C4 denial. I know that's kind of weird, but basically what I'm trying to say is when you're attacking onto server, you've got the drop downs open. That means the defenders can't rush you to stop you from planting in that default little corner spot that we so frequently see. But what the defenders can do, and what they often do, end up bringing out is the C4. The C4 will be tossed from red hallway, and it goes directly towards that default spot. This is a very common thing. Now, it is hard to deny a C4 being tossed from the angle by server stairs or where the plant spot actually is. It's just, you're not going to land that shot 90% of the time. But it is exceptionally easy to deny that C4, to shoot it mid-air if you play by the server stack. So Hyper challenged that angle all the way from Vault Door just to deny somebody playing by server stack. So the C4s would consistently land. And you saw both times a player was in a position by server stack on the attacking side, FaZe was going for a plant. And both times that player by the server stack died to Hyper, FaZe got away from their plant because they knew the C4s would come soon after. And then they decided they had to go for a rush because there was no other option for FaZe. That's a beautiful setup from DarkZero, and I really appreciate that. So
much was opened up that you not only had, you had that hatch control, you had the main doorway control, you had garage control still, and you had server control. It was a masterful defense, and not one that can be executed by a lot of teams, though I do suspect we will see more of that, because we haven't really seen a lot of that long angle play by Hyper playing on that Doc role, even though he has been known to play Doc on this map. So,
he's also doing really well in this match.
Absolutely, 14 and 11. There's a lot of deaths that have occurred, obviously. Oh, is that a C4 that gets baited out?
Oh.
Beautifully played by Hyper. He just reads them like a book.
Did he mean to?
I don't know if he was trying to dare it out, but we
know that he did it.
He may be the luckiest man alive, Michael.
Either that or he's the smartest man alive. Beautiful play there from Hyper regardless, and that's a C4 wasted. And that could actually have been the final nail in the coffin for DarkZero. But because he dodged that, there's a lot less pressure on DZ now. And that was honestly, it was a beautiful play from FaZe that just didn't land.
Yeah.
If it had, oh my gosh, a different match entirely.
So FaZe is going to gamble the very final round of Bank on an open area defense. This is very unorthodox and extremely risky. But when they went to open area before on defense, they won it. So why not try and, or no, rather they lost it actually.
Yeah.
They lost it.
They were pretty bad at CEO. They only won CEO once of 3 times.
I had the colors mixed up on my
I got you.
sheet. So, but man, I'm wondering what they think they can do differently this time. The hard destruction from Hot and Cold went onto the wall, as you could see. I don't think you can get that. Hot and Cold is gonna have to put himself.
You could stand over it, I think.
Danger, maybe.
But he'd have to run over to it, so he's not gonna. But he will allow for the. Oh, did it just get tricked? He got bandit tricked.
Bandit tricked by Ion.
Oh wow.
That is something that just gets under your skin in that one's gonna fester. So another EMP will go out. 30 seconds left for one of these teams to be able to come away with a victory here, as Hyper is the only one who's taken any damage. Everybody is still alive. 20 seconds, and holy hell, this is going to get messy. Would you expect it to be any other way? First one down is Astro. Hyper is there, and now Hot and Cold will just barge right into the middle of the site. Down goes Hyper to Ion as FaZe is able to dominate the kill feed. Another from Ion. He gets punished by Mint. Yuna's in on the action. Skies will need to plant, but Mav at the final second will give FaZe the edge, and they will take the matchup as everybody just starts shooting. 1-0 for the Brazilian squad on their map. That might be a little bit too close for comfort. We'll see what happens on Coastline next.
An absolutely massive win there for FaZe, and DarkZero seemed ill-prepared to deal with an open area defense. But more importantly, I gotta say, it looks like the mistakes that are being made on DarkZero are getting under their skin a little bit.
Yes.
And you could, I don't know, it's kind of showing through. The thing is that there were so few mistakes made by DZ, but they mattered so greatly because of their opponent's FaZe being capable and proficient at capitalizing upon those mistakes. Just little things.
Eclipse and Hyper both look to be in good spirits, but the other three at the end, not the same, and especially with the performance that some of them put in. 19 frags, by the way, for Ion. When all was said and done, that is an absolutely monstrous performance to carry his team as best as he could. Most of DarkZero broke double digits. The only one who didn't was Eclipse, and well, when there's 13 rounds, breaking double digits means that you're going to be pretty close to 1 KD overall. It was a good team effort from DarkZero. No real standout performances. There were some huge rounds from Hot and Cold. He had 2 or 3 in particular where he almost single-handedly won it for them. Some massive rounds as well for Hyper. Skies had a couple key moments. But for FaZe Clan, so many rounds were dominated by Ion. It was extremely, extremely impressive.
Yeah, and by no real standout performance, Parker means that all but one of the DZ players broke double digits. That's pretty crazy. You don't see that very often. That's a lot of team effort, and I think that's really one of the strengths of DZ. They're capable of, well, anyone stepping up when it's necessary. The standout performer overall for DZ would be Houghton, but just barely when you compare to Ion's performance over the rest of FaZe.
Yeah. It's absolutely wild with the way that these teams played. Man, you look at the kill deaths over this entire match, and, well, the only member that went positive on FaZe was Ion, whereas everybody except for Eclipse went either +0 or positive on DarkZero, yet DarkZero was the team that lost. If you were to look at these statistics and try to, you know, guess as to which team ended up ahead, you would almost certainly put your money on DarkZero, as I think it would be smart money. Not is the case, and I think that's part of why DarkZero is so dejected, or at least some members of the team are so dejected. This was an easily winnable matchup if a couple things to go a separate way. That exothermic charge, better coverage on server, not pushing into server as fast as they did, maybe having somebody to support Mint on server 1 or 2 times. On both attack and defense, there were some pretty big blunders that FaZe never really committed. FaZe never really made that egregious a mistake. They looked like they were hitting their shots less than DarkZero. Ion was there to read whether it was intel or whether it was calls very effectively. And DarkZero, unfortunately, they got punished by FaZe every time DZ slipped up.
I gotta say there were a lot more innovations being brought out from DZ. FaZe brought out a lot of little things, all the right tools at all the right moment, though, is what it seemed to be the story for FaZe. Like, for example, that bandit tricking by Ion right at the end. Oh boy. Oh, that saved the round. That saved the map, even. And DarkZero came pretty close to winning that last round, despite not getting the kitchen wall open. If they had gotten the kitchen wall open, DarkZero wouldn't have had to make any big risky play like dropping down into the site like that. That was incredibly dangerous, and it almost worked out for DZ. So, really good play from Ion. Not only that, though, the C4, it did miss, but it very narrowly missed.
Almost took out Hyper as well.
And if it had, I think that probably would have sealed the deal for FaZe. That coupled with the bandit tricking. I mean, there's a lot of, like I said, little things that FaZe are bringing out to just barely edge out their opponent and win in that map. Now, it might seem like this is all over. It might seem like we've reached the grand conclusion because of how incredibly tense and close that one map was. But again, it's just a one map of a best of 3. So we've still got another map right around the corner. And I, for one, am pretty excited to see how this continues to play out, because I'm just happy we get more competition like this.
And the map is going to be Coastline, which is one of the few maps that tends to give an advantage to the attackers. It plays out very differently than like a map like Bank would. Coastline is going to be way more frag heavy. There will be quicker rounds than we saw from Bank. There's more explosive potential in terms of playmaking. You can rotate, you can flank better, you can pull off very quick executes. It's a great map for Finka and for and Montaigne, both of which are played by FaZe, and then in the case of Montaigne, DarkZero as well. So there's so many different ways that these teams can take a crack at this map, and there's a huge variety of attackers in particular that, depending on who gets banned, it's going to completely and dramatically alter Coastline. A Coastline where, you know, Hibana's on the board, you know, Penthouse and Theater, Hookah, those are going to be attacked completely differently if there's a Hibana should somebody play Penthouse Theater. If Nomad is banned versus the way that, you know, if we see a Capitao get banned. There's a lot on this map in particular, and both of these teams are decent at it. Of course, with it being DarkZero's map, they expect to play it a little bit more proficiently, but that didn't really work all that well for FaZe, who needed all 13 rounds to be able to pull this one off.
What was map number 3? If we get to his Villa, I believe.
15 rounds, rather. 15 rounds. I keep saying 13. I don't know why.
It's okay. I think we're just used to the... But then that would be... It doesn't matter. That would be 12. Villa is the last...
It used to be 13 rounds when it was 5-5. I think that's why.
Yeah, probably. That was a long time ago, though. For those of you who don't know, we updated the amount of rounds that you needed in order to win. What was it, like a year ago?
I actually can't remember when they. I can't remember when they did that. I think it was for the Invitational last year. Can't remember exactly when they did it.
It's a pretty long time ago. It feels like.
I feel like you and I have casted 3 separate ways that the rounds were formed. I know that we used to have it where they switched sides every time, and then I thought they made it longer.
Oh, we're actually getting into it, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Coastline, and yeah, we've done a lot of different.
We have done a lot of different ones. Reminder: we have been together for a very long time, Michael.
I know. Thank you, Parker.
You're welcome. So, Coastline, DarkZero starting on defense, just as they did on Bank. All right, interesting to see. Are you okay? He's adjusting his beautiful hair, by the way. First ban is going to be Hibana. This has become extremely commonplace.
I'm back. Yeah, my hair got a little crazy. I don't know what happened.
And happens from time to time, Michael.
Yeah. You can just kind of like drag it down. It should.
I know.
Yeah.
There we go.
What?
So, well,
Maybe try undo until it comes back to normal. Because you can undo a lot.
I don't know. Just work on the match. I'll figure it out.
Fine. Hibana and Dokkaebi banned out here. That Dokkaebi ban is I think it's a Coastline thing. The thing about Coastline is there's just so few places to hide. What it does mean, though, is that Jackal is not banned. He is a very common ban on this map, and having him in play is going to be good for the attacking team, whichever team that happens to be. A brief pause here. Don't know what's going on. But we have paused the timer.
Maybe technical issues. We are not entirely certain.
She just like hit undo. Like,
Michael, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so it's a technical issue apparently.
Okay. So we're figuring it out?
Yeah. Goody goody.
We don't know what the exact technical issue is, but we do know that we should be able to get back into the match fairly soon. And yes, indeed, I think the timer has just resumed. So we continue here. So DarkZero's on defense, FaZe on attack. Means Hibana was DZ's banned. Okay, and then Valkyrie. Yeah, okay. So IQ is not going to be necessary, though she is still going to be useful. Just not as useful as she would be if Echo and Valkyrie were in play. Valkyrie and Echo, or both of them together, make IQ a necessity, whereas when they're both banned, IQ is a bit of a luxury. It's okay, we don't need these attackers, so we can bring her.
Right.
In this case, you can still bring an IQ, but there are better choices, like a Jackal, for example, and a Finka, in this case, from FaZe. As you mentioned in the lead into this match, and astute observation, FaZe do bring Finka on Coastline. Well, sometimes Montaigne too, but it seems not now. I think FaZe is leaning to more of a Fragger-centric setup because they have the Jackal available as well. The thing about the Jackal is, remember when I said earlier, Dokkaebi is banned commonly on this map because of how shallow it is and how it makes it really hard to hide if there's Dokkaebi in play. It was the same kind of thing with Jackal. He's just more targeted towards one player rather than the entire enemy team. Double bar defense.
Is this the first? I'm trying to remember. I don't have all the stats in front of me.
What's up?
I was going to say, is this the first round that we just haven't seen without Zofia?
For this match or this
in general? I feel like we've seen. I feel like we've seen her in almost every single matchup. I mean, we will get confirmation once again. Thank you very much to Siege GG for providing us with rolling information that we have. Off camera, I suppose.
And they're going to be helping us out with that. Hopefully we can get an answer on that one later. But Cameraman, here and now, is the first death for FaZe, and Hyper with the first pick there. Jackal, definitely a great operator to dispatch early on.
Yes. And DarkZero, of course, taking that chance a little earlier on that's massive, and it really does set a tone and a pace for this matchup. Cameraman has been a player on FaZe Clan who has been known to play those entry-style aggressive roles. He was likely going to work alongside Ion here in order to allow the Ashe to be more effective.
You gotta be careful with those explosives, man. We've seen those explosives in the past, like, just tear apart around.
Yes.
Even little things like destroying a drone. I mean, I've done it before. I feel bad every time it happens. You like throw your drone and then suddenly, oh, I accidentally Ashe charged my own drone. Yep. I was a little bit anxious expecting that to happen there.
That alone can have a massive effect on a round. The ripples and reverberations that come from just even losing one drone, especially if you are a team that is already dealing with a Mute on the board or a Mozzie on the board, etc. And
or
speaking of...
your Jackal dead early on.
Exactly. Now, speaking of Mozzie, there goes a Twitch drone from Astro. It doesn't look like he has any left, so unfortunately for him, he's going to be outside of that utility. But Astro also likes the Twitch from a frag-heavy perspective. Of course, the F2 is a very strong weapon, and in the right hands, it can absolutely shred. And Astro just so happens to have the right set of hands for it.
There's a lot of soft destruction coming out here from not only Mav, but the rest of FaZe. Plenty of breaching charges and ash charges being dished out onto this floor, which is the defender's ceiling. Still a whole minute, too, for the attack. This isn't just vertical control. This is vertical control with a luxury of time. It's really, you don't see that very often. And that's because of how effectively and efficiently FaZe cleared upstairs, despite losing their Jackal.
Still another adrenal surge here with no smoke on the board. They don't have to worry about breathing in any of that toxic smoke that gets thrown on out. Astro with the F2 in hand will outduel Skies. He'll just sit and wait as the diffuser is going down, and will do so successfully. That Evil Eye is not able to do too much, but it looks like, unfortunately, we don't know, but it will just cycle through. Everybody's...
That is a interesting Evil Eye. So we don't know what's going on. It looks like the server died based on the fact that these players are not playing.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. That Evil Eye just... that thing won't stop.
Yeah, so I think the server... Well, not the server. Technically, it's LAN.
I believe there was an issue with an Evil Eye earlier in the G2 Rec matchup.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Evil Eye crashing the game?
Yeah, I think there was an issue with it. I can't remember.
Well...
Yeah, maybe the Evil Eye makes the servers overheat. We don't actually know. We can't speculate. So we'll look longingly at DarkZero.
We'll wait till we know. Wait till they tell us. What we do know is that is going to be a really unfortunate situation for both teams, to be honest. It was post-plant for FaZe, and you would say that usually, like, conventional wisdom suggests that FaZe would win. I will remind you guys, though, that it was a 4v4. There's potential that was winnable for DarkZero, maybe.
4v4 with them at sort of the same HP. FaZe had maybe FaZe maybe had a tiny bit of an advantage in terms of HP. So.
Honestly, it's just like, look, it's distributed between because they get two players about like 30, and then the one player on FaZe that was like 5, and then I don't know. It was about the same, and yeah, okay, it could have gone either way. I don't know what's going to come of this. The admins do. Well, they probably don't right now, actually, but they're going to figure it out, and they're going to tell us what the result is for that. But my guess is that it'll probably just be a restart. That's my guess.
We were just told that there have indeed been rounds that have been played so far today without Zofia, but we don't know exactly how many, just as an answer to that question. But
so we know it's happened.
Yeah.
That's important, I guess. Although infrequent, she does find herself outside of the being picked. Yeah.
Yuna has the whitest teeth on Earth.
Yep.
I think the only other person that might have whiter teeth than Yuna is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
He does have very white teeth.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Yuna's teeth are like appallingly white. Like they're
appalling?
I'm almost appalled looking at them. They put my teeth to shame. They put everybody's teeth to shame.
How do you think I feel? Now, so we are remaking the lobby. That is happening. So we know at least that's going on. We're putting players back in. The server did indeed crash, though I don't know the exact circumstances surrounding that. We also...
One thing to keep of note with what just happened as well is that...
What's up?
It was a 4v4 with diffuser planted. Information was very much in hand for DarkZero as there was still an Evil Eye in play.
Yep.
They looked dejected. Both of these teams had as fair of a shot at winning. There is nobody that I think you can say suffers more, because if you look at it from just a strict competitive perspective, DarkZero's defensive setup is now decently well known to FaZe, if things don't change. And FaZe's plant execute strategy is also now known. So
I'm curious if the admins are gonna, because first of all, we don't even know if they're gonna decide on a ruling for the round. Again, I expect it'll be a 0-0. We'll restart from the beginning. But then even from that, do we know if we're gonna get the same operators, the same bomb site, or is there gonna be freedom to maneuver? Because that round was well played out. We were getting towards the end there, and so it's a big question mark in the air right now. And of course, that's not a decision that we can make. We are just here to relay it to you once it has been made. So we'll find out when the admins decide on that. What we do know is that we are getting back into the match. Whether or not we have any information is beside the point. You can see the players are getting ready, getting prepped up. As soon as we are confirmed that all the settings are correct, we'll switch you back over to the game screen. From what I'm seeing right now, it looks like the call has been 0-0 and same site, same ops.
Yeah, everything needs to be exactly the same. So
yeah,
there you go. Nobody's going to 6-pick off here. It's going to be the double bar. And once again, neither of these teams had a specific advantage. It's not like it was a 1v4 where you could argue, well, no, this was a 4v4 with diffuser down. But it was on the double bars. You had a lot of information on hand for DarkZero.
Retake potential was high.
Yep. I mean, there's too many factors. If I were an admin, which I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Really?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, so generally speaking, I think the only real call there is to just queen sweep it, bring it back, and say, okay, restart with the same stuff, I guess, and try that again. Hopefully that doesn't happen one more time. Well, we'll see how this plays out. Double bar again, and I'm gonna go ahead and erase the results from that last round.
Probably a smart idea. See, now this is one of the beauties of me. I shelled out and I purchased a tablet because I used to do it.
The notebook.
Yeah.
Same.
I used to do a notebook and I used to keep tabs by hand. And then I would use my phone. You remember there's that semi-embarrassing thing where it was like I was caught on my phone because I was looking up information on my phone because I don't have access to, and I'm not going to leave the phone on the table. Anyway, I sold out and I bought a tablet. So here we are.
Yeah, we went together to go get it for him the day before, well, yesterday actually. Yeah, it was yesterday. So it's fairly new. And I think all of the casters have a tablet now of some sort.
Every caster has a tablet now. I was the lone holdout, by the way. I was the last one.
Yep, and you're no longer.
No longer. I've fully embraced it. So anyway.
Yeah, so we've got this match going on.
So what is going to change? What is going to be different? That's the question I want FaZe to answer for me.
Well, what we do know is that FaZe is attacking in a totally different order. They're clearing out upstairs again. But the way that they're doing it is just a little bit more methodical, I would say. And it's a little bit less focused on the actual bomb site, more focused on maybe the roamers. As they spot out the Rook in the main lobby. It's hot and cold detected.
Hot and cold had gotten an opening pick onto Cameraman, was it earlier? And, well, we said goodbye to the... We said goodbye to the Jackal early, so.
Activating drone.
Now, the clear is in here for FaZe. They've gotten a lot of control. In fact, they even have blue stairs. And Mav is going to get a kill from above, too, off the soft destruction. So this is actually looking pretty good for FaZe right now. They've managed to put themselves in a really great spot in terms of positioning, time, and man count. Now, this is actually a better round than the last round was for FaZe, because last time FaZe lost their Jackal early on, and they were opening up with a minute left. This time they started opening up with like a minute 20 left. Mint is going to get Una, though. You see, Mint has actually positioned himself very aggressively. He just really wants to hold that default plant spot, and he's going to do it, whether FaZe likes it or not. This is an interesting position here from Ion. He's going to be ready to drop. Now, the reason he got up on the wall instead of vaulting it is that he won't make the vault noise, so he'll only make the drop noise. It's going to be a little bit quieter, a little bit less warning for the defenders.
Just waiting for them to walk in through the mudroom. Mint fires a little bit too early, gives his position away, but then Aldo's got so many bullets that he can begin to hold the trigger down now, but he gets pinched from the back. Ion is there. It's a run out from Eclipse. What does he see? He finds one. Hyper gets rid of Mav as well. Diffuser goes down, but it's a 1v2, and it's Astro faithfully executing his role. He's got two hard walls next to him. This is going to be almost impossible. The F2 low on ammunition. He manages to find the Jaeger pistol. Oh, no way! It just happened! Astro! Oh my goodness! He pulls out the Magnum and he dusts two separate members of DarkZero, and FaZe takes the round. Good Lord.
Okay, so what I know for sure from that
Tell me.
is that the communication on DZ was really bad. Oh boy, what is Jaeger doing there? Why is he trying to disable? It's a 2v1. Take the fight. There's no other way to play that. He's in exit. You can't ignore the Twitch. This is not a consulate basement post plant. All right? He's not playing a long angle in Narnia. He's right up against you. You got to fight him with your teammate. And that didn't happen. That didn't happen. The communication on DZ, not great. The decision there to try and, one person disable, the other person go for the fight, that was the wrong call. And I don't know if it was the wrong call because somebody made that call or because of the decision-making of Hyper, the Jaeger specifically. What I do know is that, not a great situation there for DarkZero. And FaZe, we'll take that round.
Mav is having some technical issues. I don't know exactly with what, but they will assess and diagnose as DarkZero sits and waits. Very minimal communication being done from DarkZero. There's not an awful lot to talk about. I mean, you're not going to rake somebody over the coals for what we just witnessed.
No, I mean, there's not really, why would you? Yeah. So one thing that I think is important to highlight is talking about mistakes at a LAN environment is a terrible idea. Yeah, okay, you can make mistakes and you can mess it up, but you really, really don't want your players thinking about their mistakes when they're playing at this level. You really want them to move on and try to create new opportunities moving forward, and they can ruminate and contemplate those mistakes after the event, once you've either won it or been eliminated, but not during.
Also, big ups to Mav, speaking of. He's been on a bit of a health kick.
Oh yeah, he's lost a lot of weight.
He has dropped, I was told it was like 30 kilos or something like that he's dropped, which is an insane amount. And he looks, I mean, he was always a good looking dude, but...
Rejuvenated is the word I would use.
He's a smoke show. He's a smoke show now. Mav, if you're listening, if you rewatch this, good on you, man. You look great.
Yeah, he's definitely, he's lost a lot of weight.
You look great.
Yeah. Not only that, he just looks healthy. It's almost like his skin is glowing. You know what I mean?
He has like that. He has like almost like that pregnant glow.
I wouldn't say
he's not.
More like a healthy glow.
Your pregnant glow.
Okay.
That's what you said. Those are your words.
All right then.
Those were your words.
Okay. I'm not gonna belabor the point.
You really just said labor when we were talking about pregnancies?
I actually didn't really think about it. Most of my puns are accidental, I'll be honest. Majority of them are accidental.
Well, that first round was... Hyper started to defuse. I am not entirely certain.
I don't know why.
I don't really know why either, unless the call was made that they had somebody watching better. It was Skies on Legion, was it not? It was... Oh no, it was Eclipse on Legion. It was Eclipse who was supposed to be covering Hyper.
The thing that bugs me about it is that in that scenario, the 25 bullets on the Twitch F2, that nerf, the 5-bullet nerf, actually could have made a significant...
That was very significant, but then you had the Magnum.
But he had the time to switch to the Magnum. That's the tricky bit. Because he downed the person who was trying to challenge him, and then, or either that or he downed the Disabler, it doesn't matter which, and then the Magnum won. It was the Disabler. He downed the Disabler with the F2, and then had time to switch to his Magnum. Because the cover player was not where he should have been, I guess. It doesn't matter. They both should have been fighting him at the same time.
He's trying to figure out where the pest is.
I think it was on the drop.
I don't know where it was, but...
I think it was placed like on the rim of the drop.
There's early action now as Hyper absorbs too much damage than I think he wants. Ion could have possibly caught somebody inside of Aqua and still can, but there's the drop down below, and it's Hyper who manages to get away. Astro is punished by some inadequate entry, and there goes a C4. Say so long. More information that will continuously be called out by Hot and Cold, and he lines it up, but it doesn't go. C4 will miss. Back on that heartbeat sensor as he's now joined by Eclipse as the Mozzie is down there. Can we see anything? That's a beautiful shot. Second for Eclipse. 90 seconds on in, and DarkZero have been able to completely shut down the entry from FaZe.
It's been a really good showing so far from DZ. And there's even more for Eclipse. I said DZ. I meant it's been a really good showing from Eclipse, who has gotten all of the kills so far, and he's looking for a fourth. Shotgun out, and he's ready to challenge again. Didn't do very much damage to Yuna, as you can see, because of that overheal. Eclipse is on low HP, so it's unlikely he's going to get any more, but that's okay, because DZ is in a comfortable place because of Eclipse, and he doesn't need to do any more work, or he shouldn't need to do any more work. And there he goes, Eclipse eliminated by Yuna, who's got that LMG. We down on the window, though, and there goes Mint getting that kill. So all on Ion, and there he goes. Sky on the final, Sky with the final kill. DZ will take their first round.
The perfect fusion, Sky on.
Stop it. I didn't mean it.
Well played by Skies there, as DarkZero will look to recapture some of that momentum. A bit of frustrating events for them, not just with the loss on Bank, but then also the dropped server issue. That is something that can obviously get under the skin of a number of teams.
Sorry, Skies.
You don't need to apologize to him. I don't think he cares. I'm sorry. Hookah Lounge and Billiards for the third round, with DarkZero running a loadout that looks somewhat similar, but DZ has been very flexible in who plays what roles and when they play them.
Yeah, I honestly think it's a good trait, being able to move roles around depending on circumstance, because some players are comfortable in some positions, for example, but they're not comfortable in those positions all the time, or they have operators that can be played there, but maybe the team needs to position that operator differently, and that player's not comfortable in that other position where the operator would need to be moved to. Like an example, Skies is on smoke right now, and maybe he's playing smoke right now because the typical smoke player on DZ doesn't like playing smoke at cocktail bar in A. I mean, that's entirely possible. The last smoke player was Mint in the previous round. And maybe Mint just really doesn't like playing on the A bomb site, which is typically where you would put a smoke on this specific bomb site. So you can move that around, and then everyone's comfortable where they are. I think that's it's a trait of I'd say the depth of a team. It defines the depth of a team. We're not fully defining it. It's part of the depth.
Just commit to it.
I don't know.
Commit to it. It does define a team.
It's not.
It does define it.
It's a big part of it, but it's not all of it. It's like part.
Stop.
Sorry.
Just stop.
Astro not only has that one plant, but also that really big clutch. It was actually the only round that FaZe has won so far. Of course, we're only 2 rounds in, so pinch us out on that one, guys.
FaZe Clan is running the exact same lineup now, 3 rounds in a row. There's a bit of harassment onto the Mozzie as the Finka boost goes off, and Astro is not able to tag Hyper anymore. But the C70 is, and it sounds like 2 shots land onto Hyper. He takes himself down to 50 HP. Is he under watch? That's the real question. It's not Hyper, but it's Mint who goes, and the first kill goes to FaZe Clan. Mav on an entry as the Buck.
Mav's been doing well on that Buck recently.
Where is this all happening? This is just Coastline in a nutshell. Things happen, you don't know where they're going to be coming from. So
Can't always catch everything, especially on this map. It's kind of small, really, but the action, because of its small form, is pretty fast-paced. It's go, go, go all the time. You can see that Skies is trying to make his opponents think about Sunrise Bar, and there's actually nobody there on the defensive side. They're just opening up the window just to be like, hey, hey, I'm here, and then moving somewhere else to do other things. There's a setup for an Aqua take here from the attacking side, from FaZe. They want to go for the standard plant behind the bomb inside a pool. Astro's going to make that easier as Hyper goes down. It's a really big kill. I believe that was one of the players, Hookah, but can't be certain.
There's an Adrenal Surge with a minute to go as a frag grenade gets tossed on in. Gun down, Astro with 2 more kills. C4 from below in the hands of Eclipse, but it does not happen just yet. He'll toss it out, try to run on up, take some damage from Cameraman. That distinct sound of the C7E as you see Eclipse just trying to dodge around this grenade. Oh, unit team kills Astro, that's not ideal. So 3 kills for the Twitch is all you're going to get. SMG 11 out for Eclipse as he's full blind. Everybody seems to be blind. Eclipse re-engages, but Cameraman is there holding the angle, and FaZe will answer back. Just as we saw in Bank, these 2 teams are so close to one another. Diffuser down, opening pick. That was a pretty defiant round for FaZe.
It was actually looking decent for DZ, but they did lose out that opening pick, and then it sort of snowballed for FaZe. The biggest thing from FaZe is that they played in an unpredictable fashion. You could see that DarkZero was setting up for a lot of things. and they weren't setting up for any of the things that FaZe delivered. For example, that C4 that could have come from below from Eclipse. Well, it didn't, first of all. Could have gone into Aqua, could have done some damage, but it was too slow. FaZe is playing fast-paced. You got to be a little bit quicker on the draw for that sort of thing. That is another thing that I'm noticing from DarkZero. Just a quick side note. They're hesitating a lot.
Attackers need to locate and
But
defuse
anyway,
the bomb.
moving on from that. They had the setup for the default plant, Eclipse underneath, C4 from below to deny that plant. There was also a player inside of Cocktail, but because that opening pick came, in fact, 2 opening picks came from Astro when it came to the actual site take, there wasn't a lot of control on the site, stopping the FaZe players from rushing into the A bomb site. So the C4 from below didn't really matter. Overall, I'd say that DarkZero are setting up a really, really thorough hold, and they're just losing players and parts of that hold, and FaZe wastes 0 time on capitalizing upon those gaps that they themselves, FaZe, are opening.
Defuse the bomb.
Let's get underway with round number 4 here now, and once again, FaZe have not stopped using the same combination of operators now. 4 rounds in a row. These attackers with their very little variety. As for DarkZero, well, they've changed things up a fair bit, actually. They're now using a Mute and an Ella. They've used a Rook. Fascinating stuff. Jaeger obviously is standard. Let's look at it. Deep roam down below, as it is a hookah defense upstairs. Will Mint get spotted? Jaeger has been on the run for DarkZero, regardless of who's playing that role, whether it's Mint or whether it's Hyper. The very first Adrenal Surge goes off as somebody from FaZe thinks that they have anybody in their sights. It's Eclipse. He gets spotted from a very long angle. Courtyard all the way into Sunrise Bar. There goes another Adrenal Surge, and you can hear that Hyper playing inside of security as Ella gets blown to pieces. What a toss from Yuna. Obviously, likely coordinated or just even a blind throw, but my, DarkZero will trail with still half the round to go.
It's starting to spiral out of control here for DZ, and it'll get even worse as Mint is eliminated by Ion. Could it be a flawless round for FaZe? It's getting pretty close to that. Hot and Cold and Skies doing their best, I suppose. One player over by the Cool Vibes or Blue Stairs. Then, that's actually, he's getting caught out there. But, oh, a beautiful kill there for Hot, and surprising that he beats out Ion on that engagement. That's a weird angle for Ion to lose on. It's also Diffuser down. Skies, rotating over by Luggage. He will be cut off from the top. That's Yuna on the Skylight who's going to prevent that rotation if Skies commits to the rotation, that is. He could decide to go somewhere else, and he will. 90 camera gives Skies information so he knows it's clear. He can go there safely.
I wonder how much of that was just simply Ion looking away. He might not have been staring at his monitor, but there's still a minute to go, and this hole that was blown open by FaZe will give them so much time to just simply wait, and DZ knows that they're effectively paralyzed, so all they can do is hold 2 angles. They don't need to provoke anything now, as we saw Hot and Cold risk that looking in towards the Skylight. They'll just sit and keep watch over by Cool Vibe, and then turn around and look towards Aqua. Yuna still got a frag grenade in hand. Is he going to try to bounce it? It'll sail on in. There's nobody there. Skies peeks, and cameraman's watching that angle. So if Skies does show himself, well, this is going to be a trouble for the Jackal. Jiggling around left and right as the diffuser was going down, but it gets dropped. The Alda comes on into play. Yuna shuts down Hot and Cold. Shotgun out in the hands of Skies, but will he be able to stop Yuna from defusing? The answer is no. He's still held off by that push on the window, and then Mav comes to the rescue at the top of Cool Vibe Stairs, and it's 3-1 for FaZe.
FaZe came pretty close to losing that several times, actually, and I can safely say that the Meister losing the ACOG actually made a significant difference in that round. Matching an ACOG in the hands of the Meister there, I could see 3 kills coming for Houghton. The one on the Skylight, that would have been crucial. And then probably both of those kills in Aqua, because it would have been able to transfer his control a little bit more efficiently. So, I guess, in a way, the ACOG removal working out for the Maestro nerf, kind of, sort of, a little bit, in that one time on Coastline with Houghton. Anyway, DZ having a lot of trouble holding out that site, but the biggest thing is that they lost three people off site, I want to say, for nothing. They got nada out of that. FaZe got well, 3 kills, decent amount of control in Aqua, enough to attack the site without worrying about C4s from below or anyone flanking them. And then also, they have plenty of time, too. FaZe could deliberate over how they wanted to actually execute, and they could set up players on repels. They did that. Had sent over, I think Mav was over on hookah repel, big window repel was being covered, and one person to cover from Aqua while the other goes for the plant. It was a really well-established attack from FaZe, and it all stemmed from clearing out the roamers for DZ and losing nothing in the process.
Attackers are moving to defuse.
Kitchen was the only place, Michael, that we saw some success from DarkZero in this map, at least.
Oh yeah?
Yes, Michael.
Oh.
As nothing changes from FaZe, they're going to run the same thing.
They have changed over who's playing what, but they haven't really changed what's being played.
There's no smoke for the Kitchen defense now. That's the only change that we see for DarkZero. Instead, they've got Mint playing on the Ella. I wonder if it's the FO12
Wow.
in hand. That is
really impressive, actually.
It is not. It is the Scorpion, and we know that because of this beautiful new eye. Thank you so much, Marcio. I love this.
It's so great. The only thing...
I feel like Milos gushing over a foreign word.
I was trying to think of a foreign that when he gushes over frequently.
It's just a joke.
Crapel. Something like that.
There's a friendly poke at our good friend Milos.
Yes.
I love Milos. Anyway.
Can't really think of any. I'm not good at this.
Just, you didn't need to think of it.
Oh, okay.
Anywho.
Gishmont detonated there. Mint knows there's somebody coming from hookah. It's going to be really good information from him. He isn't able to do anything from it. One thing I say is Ella is really good now after her recoil buff, but she does still have a really low damage gun, and you have so many long-range fights. Cameraman will cut it off from the drop-down. Effective use of the shotgun there from camera.
And that was as well a drone that was positioned. Down goes the Ash of Ion. Hot and Cold is just able to hold a very good angle onto Ion. Wow, that was all the way up into luggage from inside of service.
Manages to make it work. Eats a little bit of damage from that nade. That was scary for a second when we heard the nade bounce, but Hotton survives.
Wonder if that's a friendly drone from Eclipse that's situated to watch service, or if that was one that had just spotted Hot and Cold, but not entirely sure. There's 10 damage that'll be done to Hyper as his head gets blown back. And there's an adrenaline surge, too. Hyper's pushed up.
Oh, plant.
Hear the sound of the plant going down. Wonderful hold as Astro takes out Hyper. Whoa! And an even better shot from Eclipse as the diffuser is planted. Mav's there to take out Skies. Hot and Cold takes Yuna down. C4 gets tossed up, and it catches Astro. Diffuser is being worked on. Hot and Cold's only a second away, and he was downed in action. So, oh my goodness, everything happens not where you want to be. DarkZero, beautifully done. That C4 knocks down Mav and gets a kill as well. So perfectly played. And DarkZero will manage to pick up their second round now on defense.
That was an exceptionally clean round right there, specifically from Eclipse. He not only managed to cover with the C4, he got the down on the player he got the kill rather on the player who was on the balcony inside of Garden. Then he downed one above, killed another above with the C4 to cover the Maestro for disabling the diffuser. And the Maestro, who was, in this case, Houghton, managed to disable the diffuser after killing the planter. So it was pretty much just Eclipse and Houghton who won that round. Beautiful job to them. And DarkZero, for what feels like the first time ever, come out on the winning side of weird circumstances.
Yes, very weird circumstances.
And we've been seeing a lot of weird wins from FaZe. We've been seeing a lot of weird losses, which, yes, I know are wins for FaZe, but weird losses for DarkZero. It does matter. There's a distinction. But that was the first weird win that DZ has gotten. And impressively executed. Well done, especially again to Eclipse. Great awareness.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, but that was just, I just wanted to highlight. I feel like DarkZero hasn't been getting those kind of odd
No, the
wins.
breaks, they have not been catching a break.
That's the best way to put it.
They have not been able to catch a break in this matchup.
Thank you, Parker.
And everything seems to be falling in favor as like the invisible hand of God is just holding the scale or tipping the scale in FaZe's favor in this matchup. So
Yeah.
yeah, DarkZero has unfortunately not been able to do all that much.
Said it way better than me. It really is, yeah. They haven't caught a break.
Thanks, Mark. So, anywho, final defense for DarkZero. Mint sustained what looks to be a couple points of damage. There goes the first adrenal surge, however you want to call it. It's just to get in the doorway. And you can see that Eclipse is there just waiting ever so patiently. Any people from FaZe are lined up. Will he be able to get away? As he's going to get droned out now, you have to capitalize if you're FaZe. It is the double bars defense, so he can head on into the safety of the site as he litters the way forward with goo mines. He's also got Hyper watching just next to him.
Hyper and Eclipse can do a lot here, or they could lose a lot here. It's going to come down to, oh, beautiful shot. What a pre-fire. Ion goes down. That's a big lead-off kill for DZ. Is now on a little bit of a back foot. They also haven't been able to get the Legion from above. Eclipse has actually done 50 damage to Mav because he was opening up above in Aqua.
So a stall out possibly for FaZe Clan. We'll see, as they don't really seem to have a lot of certainty as to what they do next. Eyes on luggage, eyes on Aqua, explosions below as Mav has taken some damage, and well, that's about it. Right now, the standout performer for FaZe has obviously been Astro with that F2 in his hands. The drones have not been the most effective. They've been mostly chunking away at people's life, even though he hasn't received a single assist for it.
Oh, an engagement by the main lobby leaves Hyper on low HP. They didn't fully lose it. Cameraman also ate a little bit of damage. Eclipse going to be cutting off rotation over by the service entrance. That could have been very well played by Eclipse in order to pick up that kill with a pre-fire. Yuna's getting the plant down, by the way. Nobody seems to know about this. He's in the middle of the smoke. He gets finished right as it's on the final millisecond. That could have been so good for FaZe. Frag grenade gets tossed in, but it's a run out from Eclipse, and FaZe Clan will fall even farther behind. There's only one member left, Cameraman. In a 1v4, and just as close as map 1 was, it looks so too map 2 will be. Cameraman gets the scan. He's got to get 4 kills in 20 seconds. It's been done before. It's been done in less time even. It doesn't seem very likely as he checks the wrong angles. DarkZero will get the 3-3, as will FaZe, I suppose. They are constantly back and forth in this map, the same as they were on Bank in the previous one. So much more of the same here.
This is what we wanted, though.
Yes.
I am so glad to see it.
It is a really good result. And this is what we were hoping would happen with a lot of the other matches that we saw today, but not so. At least you and I. I've heard that Stream A has been pretty exciting too today.
Yes. It's Empire versus Fnatic on right now.
Oh yeah? Mm-hmm. Sounds like a great match. Don't forget to also watch that one, but you got your choices. You can multi-twitch it and stuff like that. Yeah. Double bar here from FaZe for their first defense. This is actually the same site that DarkZero picked first. Interesting. Seems to be the preferred site right now. That the site selection changes in waves, really. You know, for example, that used to be the primary bomb site was Penthouse, and that is now the most loathed bomb site. I would say people actually really don't like it that much.
I am trying to remember when we've seen it played more than like one time in the last little while.
Yeah, as a consistent mainstay bomb site, you mean? Yeah.
I mean just more than, yeah, like an off pick.
I mean, it's not even an off. Like we see rarely it be picked.
Yeah.
Not just as an off-pick site, but just rarely. Period. All the other bomb sites are seen as preferable. Actually, I know a lot of people who like double bar the most, kitchen the most, billiards the most, whatever. Preferences vary, but all 3 of those bomb sites are like, yeah, people are comfortable and happy on. This is such a nasty peek from Ion. That one right there is not an instant spawn peek, but it's as close as you can get to an instant spawn peek without being one.
This position gets given away as well. So, DarkZero bringing the big old nasty. They got a Lion on the board. They've got a Nomad for any possible runouts. The air jabs in play will be able to stop them. Capitao for maximum disruption. Some very different lineups from what we see, and Astro will feast upon the Lion. Oh my.
Big ol' Nasty is dead, I guess. Astro, really important early kill right there.
Yeah, that's huge, actually. Yeah.
Might give FaZe enough of a leg up to win this, but Astro has eaten a lot of damage as well. You can see he's about 15 maybe. Pretty low. He's gonna start opening up holes above kitchen to support Ion. Actually, no, he's gonna get healed by Ion, so never mind, I guess. The damage is, well, fixed. It's repaired.
Undone.
It is, yeah, Control Z on that.
Yes. FaZe Clan off to the early start that they wanted here on their very first defense down on the double bars, the same site that DarkZero started on. FaZe 2 will. The Lion obviously being an integral part of any push, very similar to how I'd imagine the Finko was utilized by FaZe Clan. Frag grenade in hand, but unfortunately it's the wrong way, and the Maestro is spotted for only a fleeting moment. Mav will be 30 HP worse for wear.
Let's be, I mean, not detrimental for FaZe.
No.
Being a 3 armor, he'll be able to weather the storm.
It's an office. It looks to be an office take right now coming in, which is, there's two ways to really crack into the site. One can be through the front door of Sunrise, the other through office. There's no hard destructor though, so that double wall is going to be a real pain to be able to get through. An air jab gets activated somewhere, what sounds to be over by security, and there you can see the ripples as a flash gets opened up, and this is going to be some excellent vertical play. You can hear the Maestro's position as there's two people in there, and again, hot and cold, missing his frag grenade for the second time.
It's partially missing his frag grenade, partially the worst timing I've seen in a while. Hot and though does get Mav, so great situational awareness from Hot and Cold to eliminate Mav as he rotates by the garden. Smoke bolts coming out, Sky's going for the plant. Good coverage here from DarkZero. No denial coming in just yet, but there's the denial from Astro. Cameraman adds to it. Eclipse will get Astro, though, who is pushed up aggressively on the blue bar. You know, from the rotation, is going to get Mint. That's a really important kill, and it will shut down the rest of the take from DarkZero. Ion on a long angle, able to get the final kill for FaZe.
Perfect for FaZe Clan.
Yeah, good holdout.
Wait, are FaZe Clan blue team? What is going on?
Yeah, because they
That's right.
switched.
Yeah, so they switched.
Well, no, not the, because they switched sides. We're on the second half, right? It doesn't keep the color in the second half.
I thought it was because of the rehost.
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm so confused.
It's been a long one. We've done 3 in a row. It's weird. How long is that? How many? First two were fast. How long is that though?
First two matches?
Yeah.
The first match was the 3 lopsided best ofs, and the second one was just the 2 lopsided best of. It was a 7-2 and a 7-1 for BDS.
They were really fast. Well, we started at what, like 10? Yeah. Started at 10.
I don't know.
FaZe is going to billiards here.
Hookah billiards.
Or Bill.
No, don't do this again.
I just wanted to get a rise out of you.
Don't do that.
I'm sorry. It's
No,
funny.
Rise plays for Rogue.
It's funny every time, unlike your puns.
5 seconds left before
Please take that back. I don't need this kind of
attackers are
hurt
heading out
today.
to the bomb.
2 stars of the show so far, as you can see, in terms of their roles, in terms of impact, are undoubtedly both Astro and Eclipse. They are not just top fragging, but the kills they've been getting have been extremely important. Astro saving the post plant for his team, Eclipse being able to refrag and helping his team snowball past that. The Dock of Mav in main lobby, if we look now towards round number 8, has been spotted on drone, and 1 EOD will get burned through, but Mav is able to get away. And Cameraman are both above, and well, they lose one of the off-site presence, and that's going to be Astros. Hot and Cold down below in office, guns down the Mozzie. So the most consistent player for FaZe in this map is not going to be a factor for the remainder of the round.
Han's going to be able to do a lot of work from below. A really important position to have your buck in when it comes to a billiards defense is having Hotton, the buck, underneath. He is, oh what, is he? No, okay, he's still by blue bar, right? He might have made a rotation though. It's entirely possible he made a rotation over to the couch, or sofa as some people call it. No, he's just up against the wall. It's a little bit deceptive. Mint is droning out the Sunrise bar, and he'll probably call out that the Vigil effect is more intense in Sunrise, but it didn't come out the exact location, so Ion will react perfectly to Hot and Cold, making rotation.
Gets shut down very swiftly by Hypers. You bid Ion adieu inside of Sunrise Bar, but he was able to take one with him. And while FaZe Clan are still behind, the Buck is a very instrumental operator, and Hot and Cold has been very good for both of these maps. So You still got EODs left, exactly 1. If you're Hyper, you can paralyze the attackers for only 4 seconds. Lion is by no means anywhere near as strong as he used to be. He is still annoying to deal with because you know that if you get caught while an EE1D gets popped, there's no recourse but death most of the time. Drone work from Hyper will show that, well, Aqua is clear, except for Cameraman, who's on his belly. He gets blinded and will get spotted. Finished off, yes, sloppy aim from Mint, but he hits the shots that are necessary onto Cameraman, so FaZe will fall farther and farther behind as this round continues. There goes the Toxic Canister out. Mav is on in. Mint gets finished off. He had very minimal HP. A stun goes onto the Doc, who will immediately drop. Mav will just try to hang on as he repositions. There goes another smoke. Not doing any damage to anybody on DarkZero. Diffuser in the hands of Eclipse. He will need to go for the plant in the old traditional spot. A beautiful shot from Yuna. And down goes Mav. No, your smoke not doing what you need it to do. Shotgun out, you'll have to play around multiple angles, but no, nothing there for Yuna. Eclipse will finish it off. And DarkZero will answer back. These two teams, oh my goodness, now it's 4-4. This is about as even as you can ask.
Oh my goody good graciousness.
Graciousness, very good.
Thank you. This has been, yeah, about as close as it gets. It's like one of those races. What do they call those races where you have like a partner and they tie your legs, one of your legs together?
I don't know.
One of those.
Three-legged race?
Yes. A three-legged race. See, he's been doing crosswords, and he's been getting really good at trivia.
I made Michael download a crossword app yesterday.
I'm doing it for the first time.
Yes, and he's gonna expand his references. He's gonna start getting references. So
hopefully,
this is a work in progress. Now, let's look at this matchup so far. What has been the story between these two teams? Break it down for us.
Well, they constant back and forth.
I mean, other than that.
Right, other than that. So, if we narrow our focus to this second half, at least, DarkZero are bringing out some really interesting tools. The Lion, I think, has actually been pretty beneficial to them. They've been using it really well. Like, the calculation on the Lion is great. The Capitao is another tool that DarkZero very rarely have access to, as he is often banned, even especially against them, because DarkZero are really, really good with Capitao. And they've been very efficiently using those Capitao bolts as well. That's not to even mention the Nomad, but that's a pretty standard, this box standard. We saw the same thing from FaZe. So far on the attacking side, I'd say from DZ, their biggest power is their ability to control the flow of the engagements. They can halt aggression, and they can initiate aggression on their own side using their utility. And FaZe are having a little bit of trouble dealing with that. There is answer back, of course, from FaZe in terms of their own utility. And one big thing that I would like to highlight is now we are seeing a Goyo being brought from FaZe. That particular tool is an answer to the control of the flow of the engagement that DarkZero are bringing out using their operators. This will give an answer back for FaZe. They'll be able to like, oh, hey, yeah, you're going to Lion, I'm going to shoot my Goyo then, and you can't push. So that's a really neat little tool that is being brought from FaZe. They're also relying heavily on their smoke. But that's just the second half, and we're only 2 rounds on the third now for that second half. The first half was also a little bit more, but of course we're into this round, and we can maybe talk about that later.
This is funny. Both teams have used the same lineup every round for attack, and when I say that, FaZe didn't change a single operator, and neither did DarkZero. They ran the same 5 every time.
Do you know, we've actually been seeing that a lot.
Quite a lot on attack, yeah. This is another thing that Siege GG is doing for us. They are able to give us every single operator that's getting run on every single round, and by who. So.
Yes. The very specific details that are pretty much impossible for us to track and cast at the same time. So thank you to Siege GG for that.
It's that Mav downstairs inside of security as you see an entry from the Zofia over towards offices, but Mav has made his way out now towards main lobby. You go back onto his scanner. It's only a 9-meter range, and well, he's not picking anything up right now. He has been spotted on a drone. He hears the drone move around, so he shoots it, but I mean, the jig is up at that point. Mav realizes you got to get the hell out of Dodge as best as you can, so he heads on over to the main stairs, but goes back on the scanner. Why? Because where he's positioned, he knows he's safe. All he needs to do is look, and if somebody from office decides to push him, he will pick them up before they pick him up.
Ooh, both of these roamers have been detected over by VIP. EE1D comes out from DZ to try and lock them in place. You can see the aggression from Hot. He is attempting to punish these VIP roamers by being nice and quiet and sneaky. He'll be successful. He'll hit the shots. And there's the second. Double for Hot and Cold. Really big kills there, and that's top 4 control as well. He can use the skeleton key to get more site control, but it's actually a plant in safe by Cubby. There's Mint going for it. Meanwhile, the rest of DZ is coming alive. The kill feed lights up for DZ, and it's all site control for DarkZero. FaZe with the run out from the service entrance. Mav hits an air jab and is thrown back. Hotton gets a 3rd kill from above, and there's Mav getting shut down. His position known thanks to the air jab. DarkZero, a well-executed round.
My goodness, very well played. A lot of it, honestly, coming on to Hot and Cold's ability upstairs after he got droned in to be able to take full advantage of 2 members of FaZe who don't see him inside of VIP. Now, that's a very large blunder for FaZe, if you think about it. You've got a Goyo up there as well as a Vigil. Vigil's cloaking device is not on. Nobody is watching the single doorway that you need to watch to see if you're going to get droned out, because the next drone that might come at you is going to be from inside of the hallway by the top of Cool Vibes. FaZe will take their tactical timeout, and they have quite a bit to discuss because there were some issues there with their communication, the way that they've been roaming. It has not been as effective as I think they want it to be, and for a map like Coastline, you need to be better at holding that control, especially if you know there's going to be a sledge or a buck run every single round. In DarkZero's case, there has been a buck every round, and if you look in FaZe's case, there has been a buck every single round. In fact, Buck and Zofia have a 100% pick rate on this map right now. So,
I mean,
sorry, no, not Zofia, just Buck.
Yeah, in this one, in this match. Yeah.
Buck has a 100% pick rate on this map.
Yeah, he's been getting played a lot. I mean, he's so powerful. This is why we see Buck get banned. I mean,
Yep.
It's infrequent. But it's map specific, it's team specific. If a team is known to utilize Buck proficiently, then another team will ban Buck against them.
Jaeger and Buck have a 100% pick rate. Not Zofia, I was bad. That was my bad. I misspoke.
It's okay.
Sometimes reading is hard.
Attackers
It's okay.
need to locate and defuse as
don't
many
worry about
bombs as they can.
It's the final map is going to be Villa. And I very much would like to see a Villa between these two teams.
I as well would like to see Villa. We're not exactly trending towards that, but DarkZero did just get 2 rounds in a row for the first time ever. I think.
Stop worrying about grenades.
No, before.
No, I think I lost track somewhere in there. Oh yeah, is this one?
Yeah. So anywho, back down to the double bars. It was where FaZe was successful on defense on their very first stead here. They obviously want to replicate that, and then if history is any indicator, that's exactly what's going to happen. I mean, at this point, why are we even playing this match? They're going to be doing the same thing every time. It's a spawn peak yet again for Ion, but nobody will spawn over by the pool side. Ion's 2 spawn peaks that we have gotten the chance to see have unfortunately netted 0 kills, and it's always nice to see that flashy play knock a team off their stride. We saw Hot and Cold with the spawn peak in the very first round before it was rehosted. So,
you know, sometimes it's the thought that counts, Parker. Give him a gold star.
I really hope that everybody's having a good time. I've said this before, you know. So
now, it is control of office here for DarkZero. That's a really powerful position to have because it allows you to launch an attack onto the blue bar. And you've got this double bar defense that we do have right now. The fact that FaZe are so readily giving away this control is kind of confusing to me. I'm sure most of you noticed DarkZero, when defending the double bar, would place a player inside of office to at least slow down the take that we're seeing right now. But not so for FaZe, no? They let DarkZero walk in. Now, that does not necessarily mean that FaZe has inferior strategy or that they are making mistakes. No, sir. That is not at all the case. It simply means that it's a difference of mentality. DarkZero are, regardless of that ease of control, attacking pretty slowly, trying to be very careful with the way they execute this. That's fair enough. I mean, when you come down to this sort of situation, 5-4, yeah, you got the advantage, but oh man, you're down a map, and that map went to the very last round. You're gonna be careful.
Yeah. There's a drone loss to a mute jammer there, and as well, avenues that are being blocked out by the pass. That soft destruction will reveal the positioning of Ion, who's able to chunk away at Skies' HP, and an EOD almost narrowly keeps Ion locked in place. A second different, and that could have been a very big kill for DarkZero. There's still no casualties in round number 10. Just over a minute left on the board. There's a opportunity seized by Astro onto Mint as there's another EOD burned. Could possibly have none. By my count, I believe Hyper is all out. we'll see in just a bit. So opening pick goes to FaZe, and because they have a Doc on the board, all of the HP that's been taken away is replenished. Hyper finds Ion, so, well, the Doc will be no more. Mozzie engaging onto Skies, and Skies walks away from that, as you can hear, with next to no HP.
This is not a winnable, or not an outright winning position for either team, but as Hotton gets Yuna, it's looking much better for DZ. And there's Hyper as well, getting camera. Now it's all in the Sunrise Bar players for FaZe. Now, granted, Mav does have the Alda in hand, and Astro's been really fragging out, but he's going to go for a long rotation, get cut off in that rotation. It's all on Mav now. He gets 2! A beautiful flick there for Mav, and he's got plenty of ammo and ammunition left. That's 3! Pistol out now. Not enough ammo in the Alda. There's only a few seconds left, but he can't get the 4th. What a round from DarkZero, but an even more impressive round from Mav himself.
Mav, I think, just assumes it's going to be in the other direction. So close! So close, and how an extraordinary a performance that would have been for Mav. Alas, it's not close enough. And with that, DarkZero will now sit on match point. Both teams looking to lock up their map picks, giving us Villa as the ultimate tiebreak. Pretty astonishing.
I think we're probably going to go to that third map at this point.
I don't know if FaZe is going to be able to come back. Not after the run that DarkZero's put together. Since trailing 3-1, DarkZero has only dropped a single round on their march to match point. That is very impressive, and they have been dominating. They did the 2 rounds on defense and now 3 in a row on attack. They need to keep that going. For FaZe, I mean, you're the defending team. You are the one that needs to control the tempo of this round, and while the double bars worked the first time, fell just ever so short that last time. A disastrous round that was really just masked by Mav's insane ability with the Alda and a very unique weapon that shouldn't have been that close as that round was. The double bars, you have to tighten it up this time because you're going back to the same site that you only narrowly lost. The only reason why it came so close was because of an inhuman reaction from one of your players.
Yeah, from Mav.
Yes, from Mav.
Just crazy. He reacted to everything. That was like
5 seconds to go.
sub 100 millisecond reactions there. Absolutely
Attackers are
crazy.
heading out to defuse a bomb. Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
So DarkZero still winning that though because they had it was a 4v1, I believe. Would have been difficult for Mav to actually win that in the end. I feel like if Mav had enough ammo in the Alda, he might have. He might have even had enough ammo. He probably didn't even check. He probably switched reactively.
First EOD is going to get burned again, and DarkZero's been using one very early on, as we saw from the Adrenal Surge as well, from FaZe. And for some particular reason, it's expended early every time. I don't know if it's just to assist on the entry or to possibly push somebody out, but here we have once again office control being assessed. Now, it is tantalizingly close to being able to take control of Blue Bar once you are inside of office. There's only that one wall that you really need to worry about, but this is a match where, or a map rather, where you know you're going to be opposite hard breachers.
Yeah, hard breachers aren't as important as we always like to talk about on Coastline.
No, you need fragging potential here, and I mean,
yeah.
With Hibana being banned because she is, I would argue probably she is the best loadout in comparison to a Thermite.
Yeah.
Maverick is really not going to do the trick the way you need him to. That, you know, you're going to bring, you'd bring a Hibana. That means that the way that you tackle that Blue Bar is very, very different than if there was a Thermite on the board, if you had room for that, or if you had an access to a Hibana here. So you need to be able to take control of that second floor as you do with everything else. Oh my goodness, Astro is just trying to creep up on the entry into Aqua, and immediately another EOD gets burned so that you know that DarkZero doesn't have to worry too much about what comes next. But with that opening pick, they might have just sealed FaZe's fate on this map.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity seized upon by Hot and Cold, but that is as well for Cameraman. Now FaZe find themselves back in the round. Big moment there where there's no refrag as well. DZ looks like they're trying to set up for the take onto B. They have not dealt with Yuna in this corner. And there's the shotgun blast doing a lot of damage to Hyper, who runs out, hits a Legion trap on his exit, and now is on just a sliver of HP.
I mean, Yuna, when he tried to push on in, got caught by Mint. Mav doing his finest work as well with 30 seconds on the clock. Lots of damage done to Eclipse. Gumine's a plenty hit. Skies gets a kill of his own. FaZe Clan trails. Match still on the line. Are we going to be able to see FaZe Clan pull this one off? Is this match still going on, or is it all over? Cameraman spotted inside a courtyard. He's down for the count. It's Ion in a 1v3. Diffuser going down with Mint holding it in his hands, and there it is. DarkZero will take it. And we've got ourselves a third map, because these two teams, as evenly matched as they are, they won't be able to settle it in just 2.
Rightfully so, and I think this is what a lot of people expected and hoped for. And we'll see the competition continue on. So, that was a little bit less close than the first map. Map number 3, of course, Villa, as has been discussed. Eclipse and Houghton, wow, what a performance from them. Astro trying to match that. Mav as well. Mav got really close to that one round. That could have changed the overall outcome of this map, but it just wasn't enough in the end.
Hot and Cold in particular has been very, very good in his match so far today, and in all of the roles, whether it be on attack or whether it be on defense, he has excelled at keeping calm, hitting his shots. He has performed very well under pressure. He's, to me, been by far and away the standout player on DarkZero. As we saw in Tokonami on the very first day as well, he did similar things. Not that it hasn't been a team effort from DarkZero, and especially on Coastline, they came painstakingly close to being able to walk away with the first map. And they definitely won when it came time to look at the actual standings. They were by far and away the better team, but kills are not the be-all and end-all, and we saw just the composure and the strategy from FaZe Clan was better. Bear in mind that first map was only decided by a single round. So that was a beautiful C4, by the way, that not just got one member of FaZe, but additionally was able to drop the other down, which I believe at the time was Mav.
Yeah, I think
very
it was
well
Mav, 'cause
played.
it was the Buck for sure.
Yes, very, very well played. So sloppiness from Mint, and he's been very quiet today. We've seen the clutch factor that comes out for somebody like Mint. He's usually got ice in his veins and is a natural leader for this team, but he hasn't really been required all that much. Look at this. This is just...
Wow. He's reacting calls, you can tell. He's pre-firing based on a call, which means they had information on the rotation there, likely an evil eye that was positioned by the bar or something along those lines. But that was good reactions from Mav and good teamwork from FaZe to allow him to react instead of getting killed.
Well, Coastline ended up billing itself. It was billed as this huge frag fest, and I think it lived up to that billing absolutely. Oh, yeah. Villa is not going to be anywhere close to the map that we just saw. It's going to be much slower. It's going to require a lot more patience from teams. There is a lot more utility work that needs to be done, and there's going to be every single member of your team pulling their own weight, because if even one person takes the smallest misstep, that can be a wall lost into the site. That can be utility lost. That can be a huge chunk of map control lost. Villa is going to be a slog for these teams, and it can be bogged down even more by a Thatcher ban. A Thatcher ban in particular would grind that match to a halt between two very aggressive teams.
Yeah, the thing is also FaZe is really used to a Thatcher ban, even on this map.
Yep.
They've even actually had strong performances here. Liquid also, it's a Latin American thing to ban Thatcher frequently. DZ will be defending on Villa, so slight little edge there, I guess.
Slight edge.
Well, they're only starting on defense, like
huge edge.
As long as you can keep the momentum out of your mind, it doesn't matter if you're starting on the disadvantageous side.
Yeah. But no, I think you hit the nail on the head. FaZe Clan is going to be very prepared to play up against a Thatcher ban, and they themselves might even ban Thatcher, even though FaZe does kind of have this distinction as one of the few Latin America teams that prefers to play with him on the board and without him.
FaZe has a more international meta, typically. Right. And it's because of their LAN experience. They're really used to playing on this type of stage. And I don't know if they're going to ban him. I do know that if he is banned out, they'll be ready.
Yes, and this has actually been a very common complaint among a number of Latin America teams, saying that when they scrim teams in Brazil, the teams scrim to beat each other, and then therefore they ban things that allows them to excel in their region, but it doesn't translate well outside of it. How well does a Thatcher ban work if we end up seeing that? That's going to be the question. You mentioned that FaZe knows how to navigate it very well. Do they know how to navigate it on a map like Villa? That's the real question, because when we see a Thatcher ban everywhere, Villa also has a very low pick rate as a map right now in Pro League, so...
I mean, we've actually seen like Thatcher and like Thermite ban Villa
Maverick.
before.
Imagine
Thatcher and Maverick.
Thatcher and Maverick.
We've seen a lot of different, and we have seen those on Villa. And I there was one match in particular that I remember. I don't remember who Liquid was playing against, but I remember that it was like Thatcher Thermite or Thatcher Maverick or something along those lines. And Liquid just came to town. And I know that's of course a different team, but another one of the top teams in Latin America, and just proof of concept, I guess, really, of you can play Villa in a different way when those operators are not accessible. Because what ended up happening in that match was that the teams played purely for frags. It was actually much like the Coastline we just watched. And if we see that for Villa, honestly, I mean, that would be neat. It would be really cool. I like seeing maps turned on their head in terms of while they're conventionally played, and then just a complete change up to something totally new and different. So like when you have those hard destructor bans, those Thatcher bans on a map like Villa, you really just can't play around the walls anymore. And if you lock yourself into that, you're going to have a hard time on attack. The only really sensible decision is to play for frags, is to play all around those bottlenecks, to outperform your enemy, to win those engagements, to juggle the angles more proficiently than your enemy. And we've seen that done before. And I don't know, that would be cool if it popped out here, but I don't expect it to.
Last minute setup from FaZe Clan as their coach Twister shows off some strategies to cameraman, and obviously showing their particular placements. But you're out of time because we are loading into this third map between both of these teams, consistently highly ranked across the globe. DarkZero representing North America and FaZe Clan representing Brazil. They will tango on the very final map that we will have between these two. Before on this channel, we'll see Nip and Liquid up next.
Oh.
Monty ban from DarkZero, though, because they know that they don't want to have to deal with it from FaZe Clan. And, well, can you say that you're really surprised? Monty is a very poignant part of FaZe Clan's attacks on most maps, and Villa, too.
FaZe will answer back with the Capital man. That makes a lot of sense because last map, Capital was allowed in for DarkZero, and oh boy, did FaZe regret that. Capital was a really powerful force for DarkZero on the attacking side for the amount of rounds that they were able to use him.
The real question is, what are we going to see here? Is it Mira? Is it Echo? It's going to be a Mira.
Probably
Done and dusted.
Echo, Valkyrie, Maestro, one of the others. It could be Maestro because of Mav's performance, but no, it's going to be an Echo.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
I don't, I feel like, I want to say, no idea.
Great contribution, Michael. Very happy.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here, man.
I'm just happy to be here.
So DarkZero starting on defense. We said that this is going to be a significant advantage. You said that it was a bit of an advantage. Well,
I always like to say, like, if I can.
You may.
Thank you. I always like to say, technically speaking, there's no, like, system that actually provides a type of momentum to winning rounds. So, like, if you win all 6 of your defensive rounds on Villa, right? Let's say the attacker bans are really detrimental to a team. You win all 6 of those defenses. Technically speaking, you as the team who are down 0-6 are at no greater disadvantage than you were at 0-0 because there is no momentum system in place to actually force you at a disadvantage. Like other games have a monetary system, for example, Siege doesn't have that. Every round is a reset. So if you as a professional player are capable of putting that reset in your brain and reminding yourself that you can come back from anything, I mean, yeah, okay, it's a quote-unquote disadvantage, but at this level, I expect these players to be professional enough to deal with that in stride. And of course, it doesn't always work like that. It doesn't. These players are not machines, they're all human. But it is something that does play into the professionalism of a player and a team. And it's something worth tracking.
How do you feel about a kitchen defense to start off for DarkZero, given the fact that it's not a bad site, but we usually see a trophy or an aviator defense?
I like it. They're banking on winning all of their defenses. The reason that they're doing this is because they're trying to mitigate the, quantity of soft destruction that's going to be brought from FaZe. There is a sledge, so it doesn't matter. Their gamble has not exactly paid off. They're going to have to fight a standard kitchen hold here. Maybe there would be more soft destruction on FaZe. Can I see the details, please? Because I want to know how many breaching charges we've got here. Looks like 1 set and a sledge. So that's plenty for kitchen. So I don't think it's really going to change anything for FaZe. They're fine.
Is this going to be a rush from FaZe? That's the real question. Coil Shield goes off, and Yuna will be the first one on in. C4 tossed, it connects. You see Ion go flying across the room, and Yuna will see his teammate's corpse as he rushes in, but that's it for the round. Remember when I said it wasn't going to be as exciting and not as much of a frag fest? Well, apparently I was very incorrect. This go for broke strategy from FaZe goes absolutely nowhere. DarkZero gets the first kill, and then from there they end up tackling the rest of the round in record speed.
You could say that FaZe is destitute after that round. Because he said go for broke. I thought you were going to say goes broke.
My bad.
It's okay. It's been a long day.
It's been a while since we casted 3 matches in a row.
Well,
actually.
3 matches with your best of 3, yeah. But I'm just happy to be here.
I'm just happy to be here, man.
And honestly, this has been such a good match.
Attackers need
That
to locate
that
and
round
defuse
in particular
bombs.
was just beautiful to watch, and I'm glad we got to see the top down of it. The things that I want to highlight are it's very simple concepts. FaZe went for the rush. The Goyo Shield absolutely killed that rush. The Goyo Shield was the MVP, and the C4 added on top of that for the laundry play, also really significant. Hyper coming up from behind the rest of the rushers who were coming out of the basement, another big significant play. So FaZe established control of kitchen, but because their rush couldn't come out from laundry, there was no meat in the middle for FaZe, which was their plan. And then Hyper came up from behind before the kitchen attackers could reassess the situation and play differently than what they planned in the prep phase. So yeah, big plays from Hyper, big plays from Goyo Shield #1, and FaZe down 1 round. But that's what happens when you gamble on a rush.
FaZe is a team that's known for the rush. I mean, obviously the Finka plays a big part most of the time, but they are deciding to go with something a little bit different, not bringing her around. And I will have to commend FaZe here. They didn't bring a Montaigne at all, despite the fact that he was not banned on Bank. They didn't bring a Finka either. They instead saved that for Coastline. So there's obviously a very deliberate strategy here to do things a little bit different than before. Big props to them. This time for DarkZero's defense, it's going to be a site that we tend to see a little bit more common. It's going to be Aviator, and Ion springs on in and immediately seems to take out an Evil Eye cam that's sitting inside of Study. Those electrified walls from the Electric Claw will need to be dealt with at some point. The only hard breacher from FaZe is going to be a Hibana. So you can see the entire floor around those walls was shot out. That means that no exothermic charge is going to get placed down below. You'll have to have somebody from FaZe go down to take care of the Electric Claws, and it looks like Cameraman's going to be the one to do it. As IQ, she's got a gadget that's very uniquely situated to be able to pick apart that utility and allow that Hibana of Yuna to do her job.
They're going to open up the bar. That's interesting. Stuns go out to deny tricking or Kaid or electroclawing or anything like that. Just gets this thing out of your hand so you can't place it. So they're going for a bar pincer, maybe? They've opened up a small hole. Electrical's on the wall, so no more holes are going to get opened up for now. DZ has preemptively opened up a hole into the A bar. It doesn't look like DZ's worried about holding A very much. Impact Trick goes out there, but doesn't get everything. In fact, doesn't get any of those X-Scaros.
Did it get one?
No, it didn't get the set. It detonated. Or you mean one
Single pellet. No, it didn't look like it did. It was a clean X-Kairos, Michael.
So, FaZe have opened up both of the walls now. That's actually not always advantageous for the attack because it means that defenders have a crossfire in the site. But in this case, I'd say it's probably the right call considering DarkZero seem to have abandoned the A-bomb site somewhat.
Hyper gets spotted and finished off as he's playing by 90. Say goodbye to the Maestro. First kill comes, 30 seconds on the clock. Hot and Cold re-guns and takes down Astro, or refrags rather, guns down Astro. Astro, of course, named by his parents after the astronomy call in this map. It's a vault in onto the IQ, and Cameraman gets caught looking the wrong way as Skies turns his attention over to 90. It's an obliteration on the map from Mint as Yuna takes out one and will then attempt the plant with only Ion watching him. He'll take out Skies, but they need to stop Yuna, and there's Mint to do it. 2 rounds in a row for DarkZero at the very final second. And a loving pat on the back from Hot and Cold to show his appreciation for the play that we witnessed.
Oh, by the way, remember what I was talking earlier about how I think it's like it's a note on a team. It's an important thing for a team to really see how they manage momentum and their ability to just reset round by round.
Yes.
I forgot to mention at the time that I don't think that FaZe is the type of team that's good at doing that. They're typically the type of team that relies a little bit on that momentum. Not entirely. They're not the most momentum-based team I've ever seen. But they definitely do rely on winning rounds in back-to-back. So they're going to need at least 1 or 2 of these attacking wins, I think, to feel comfortable. And that's not outside of the realm of possibility. But the way that DZ is playing right now, they look pretty well-versed on Villa. And based on the way that they're setting up on Library, Living Room, I'd say that DZ's got a leg up here on the defensive side, but also a leg up in terms of the preparation for Villa. That's what I'm seeing right now. Interesting. There's a roam upstairs on Living Room.
10 seconds to go.
So, okay, the thing about Living Room is that there's so much ground to cover. For those of you who don't know, this is the least played site on this map. And the reason it's not played so much is because there's just so much here. And not all teams have fully fleshed it out. DZ's using a really cool angle in Gun Vault. If we could take a look at Gun Vault real quick, I actually want to highlight this. This is the reason that they're roaming upstairs. Could we go to a top down of the Gun Vault, maybe? No? Okay. So they're opening up holes in the floor of Gun Vault. That's the connector between Aviator and Games. And basically what they can do with that is they can control almost the entirety of Living Room and the bike hallway, which is just so much. And if you keep that control through those very simple angles, the attack can attack through that full side. So if you keep roaming upstairs, then yeah, that's a thing. And that is going to force the roamers to be cleared by the attack. The attack has to go upstairs. That's what FaZe is doing right now, because they realize this.
Still some late barricades being set up as a minute has been eclipsed from this clock, and the entry will come over from Astronomy side. The Mute Jammer gets hit, but doesn't take the entire drone, so that's really about it. FaZe Clan soft destruction will occur above the actual site. Is there a castle barricade there? No.
Oh, he's going to vault in. Dangerous, but he seems to feel safe.
It's a risky move for Cameraman, but it ends up paying off. Skies guns him down, so as Hot and Cold falls, the TCSG is there, and Skies ends up landing the shots with Hyper getting in on the fun. So does Mav, so both teams in on the action. Mav is just better around the corner as Skies doesn't really have an opportunity to fire back, so DarkZero will take control of the second floor while FaZe has control of the first. Funny how things swap around. Hyper will have to get back into the site, and he will just very slowly tiptoe down those red stairs. Diffuser being planted from Yuna. Oh, Mav is down, so it's a 1v2. Yuna has not moved an inch. Waiting for the call as they can peek out and possibly trade this off. C4 will be in ample distraction. Position given away. There's one from Yuna. He's in a 1v1 and he wins it against Eclipse. That's a momentum builder if you need one, and prevents DarkZero from getting the full rotation. Very well played from Yuna. Very well played from FaZe, and they will find their first round here on Villa.
Big round from Yuna, the man with the beautiful teeth. When you're looking at the camera,
they really are gorgeous.
Yes, they really are. When you're looking at the camera, he is the second from the left. In case you guys are wondering at home. Huge round there for FaZe. That's the type of round that I was talking about that FaZe needs in order to keep themselves in a match mentally. And Yuna, if FaZe wins this, you can trace it directly back to that round win right there. The really tricky bit there is that DZ had no idea where it was planted. They didn't know where the diffuser went down. I think they expected it to be by default, and they just didn't check the doorway, which rightfully so. There was barely any space to plant a diffuser there. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that. Not that it's especially revolutionary or anything. It just caught DZ off guard.
It was also that Unit didn't move one bit. He did
Attackers
not
need to locate
move
and defuse
a
the bomb.
muscle.
He trusted that he was unknown, which is dangerous, but it worked. Double barbed wire coming out here from DZ. Double C4 impacts. Interesting that they're going to bring the impacts. I wonder what they're going to use those for. Because Mint can bring a C4, if I'm not mistaken, on the Goyo. Breaching charges and a buck, as well as Zofia and Ash. Lots of soft destruction here for the attacking side. I think they maybe expected the kitchen this time around.
10 seconds left.
Maybe not. Maybe so. They brought an abundance of the soft destruction just in case, either way. In this case, they were correct, so FaZe, good blunder there. I guess not really a blunder. You can never go wrong with soft destruction, I guess. You can neglect other things, but
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, it's going to be a clear at the top floor from the south side here from FaZe.
FaZe really needed that after what we saw happen on Coastline. Only one round over the final 20 some odd minutes of Coastline is really challenging, and you need something to keep you in it mentally. That, you know, FaZe started off with a bang, just rushing on in and then getting chewed apart, or torn apart, chewed to pieces, as I am actually doing. But now it's going to be yet another kitchen defense. There is no trophy statuary on the menu for DarkZero. They obviously don't like it. They don't think it's as easy to defend. And you mentioned earlier, as Hyper gets the lead-off kill onto Mav, so DarkZero finds the opening they need. If there is a team in this tournament that is going to be over-prepared, DarkZero has to be in the running for that conversation.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Oh, that was a narrow miss from Skies, actually. He could have landed that one. But yes, no, I think that DarkZero is one of the most prepared teams for a LAN event like this.
Yes.
But you can never really say if they're the most, but they are definitely up there in like the top 4. Astro will get Skies. So that's the player who attempted to rotate back to side. I'm surprised that Skies didn't get all the way back. By the way, just a clarification, more prepared does not necessarily mean better or anything like that. It's not an objective measurement of talent or potential to win. Just want to clarify that.
Yes. Cameraman will find a second kill for FaZe as they now take the advantage. And so long, Hyper. He will not be able to do much. The two most agile members of DarkZero are gone, and that just blew up the X-Kairos.
I don't think he cares.
Yeah, at that point, it doesn't really matter. So C4 from Hot and Cold finds its target onto Astro, and Ion with just a fraction of HP as well. It means that FaZe are now in a tougher spot than they were just a couple seconds before this.
Yeah, it's a big C4. Whenever you have that pulse downstairs and he's able to land C4s like that, it does really sway the outcome of the round quite a bit. And with Ion on low HP, yeah, FaZe has a lot of vertical control, but oh, that flash is going to be big, and it'll force Eclipse to move. If he had stayed stationary, he would have died. Good read from Yuna. An excellent kill there. Yuna having clutched the last round might be the saving grace in this round as well. But there's Hot and Cold with the UMP to try and say otherwise. Will dodge back into Memorial, trying to play safe. His teammates coming back to help. Gonna need a crossfire here, but there goes Hot, and so no crossfire to be had, and FaZe will win it out in both of those 1v1s. I'll take that round, and it'll go to 2-2. Oh my gosh, Parker, we're back into...
I mean, this is what we're looking at right now. I mean, I did not see, to be fair, the Na'Vi SSG game because we were casting. I did not see the Rec G2 match because we were casting, but what I will say is that from what I gather from their box scores, it is not as close as this match has been, and I mean, this has been an incredibly exciting one between these two teams and as consistent as you'd expect. It is at least a better result for DarkZero than we saw in Raleigh. It is a very different roster for DZ. Mm-hmm. The man that was playing at the time, BC, is now behind the bench, is where he has always wanted to be, which is coaching this team and guiding them forward. There's a tactical timeout, or a technical timeout, it looks like, as both teams have paused.
Yeah, clarification's in, it is a technical, so we'll wait to see what goes on. And you could tell, because neither of the coaches have their mics down. During a technical, they're not allowed to talk to their players, as well as during the match, in case you didn't know.
It's not that that matters, though, because the team is capable of talking to themselves, and you can see DarkZero seem to be, at least from what we see on their faces, in better spirits than before. They've just lost a living room defense and a kitchen defense to FaZe. Aviator Games will now unlock, or it can be another crack at kitchen, or if you really want to go buck wild, you can go up to trophy and statuary. So everything is available. There's no site that is currently locked, but where do you go if you're DarkZero? Is this a conversation that you have at this point? Because clearly you don't want FaZe to be able to gain momentum. This is Villa that we are looking at. There is a Monty ban and a Capitao ban, which means that the attackers still have tons of tools at their disposal, but the defenders have the same operators ban that we usually see, Echo and Mira. This is still going to be a very defender-sided map. And yet, because of this, I would be a little worried if I was DarkZero, just because you've now lost 2 in a row. There's still a 4-2 that is possible, which on a Villa, I think that if you're on defense and you take 4 rounds to 2 rounds for the attackers, that's the result that you're looking for. There's very limited room for error now on DarkZero to avoid losing yet another round of FaZe over the next 2 rounds.
Here's what I'm picking up as I'm watching these players. They're all anxious to get back into the match. Getting yanked right out of the zone like that, it's uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable. And now everybody's just waiting to get started. Not a good place to be. We're still looking for the technical issue to be resolved. It is going to be a continued wait. See, Philip back there, he's going to see about maybe fixing the problem. We don't actually know what the issue is. Hopefully it is resolved quickly. Right now, there's not a lot of information to work with.
Yeah, we're just trying to get, I guess, some kind of update.
Yeah. We do know that there's 1 player missing. We are down a player in the lobby. Not going to name names or anything like that, but that's what we're waiting on. We're waiting on that to be fixed out. Right now, it is slowing down the flow here for everybody. And you can see the players are starting to a little bit unwind. Everybody was in focus mode when we came into this technical break, and that's going to start to dissipate after a while. The question is, which of these teams is going to be better at picking themselves back up after the focus mode has been lost? Because it looks like we're getting a little bit of an unwind here.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you stay in good spirits and you actually take the time to get into a good mindset and not get frustrated or flustered by something that you really have no control over, these sorts of things do happen. It can be something as simple as maybe a memory, a memory crashing, memory dump. Maybe there's an issue with the SSD. Maybe the power supply broke. We don't know. There's always technical issues when you look at this kind of thing, and we just simply await the information. Now, on Villa so far, there's been a variety of different things we've seen from these 2 teams. First round was a rush. Second round was a very good roam from DarkZero. But let me interrupt that thought just for a second, as I've been told that we have a 3-minute video to throw to while we await further information.
I'm cameraman. I don't have a specific role. Kind of fit into everything, and I play for FaZe Clan.
I'm hot and cold. I am the support player for DarkZero. To get to the Six Invitational, I think we got to the Six Invite by making Japan finals with, I think it was Rec. And yeah, we did really good in season 10, I think it was.
All started in 2016. I got invited for Santos Dexterity. That was my team back there. And that's when I dropped school and when I start playing Siege for professionally. So
our team's current state is honestly pretty good. I think we still have a lot to improve, but I think we're going to be looking strong for Invite. Our competitors right now is honestly just whoever's in front of us, FaZe to begin with, and whoever it is after that, we'll be ready for.
I think I'm very confident. We practiced really hard. We were boot camping here in Montreal for like a week. And we had this experience exchange with the North America teams. It's good for us because they play they have a different play style than the Latam. So yeah, I'm very confident. First of all, our competitors are DarkZero. It's our first match, but we have Empire in our group. That's a really good team, one of the favorites for the title.
Empire versus Fnatic, I think Empire obviously is the favorites going into it. I think Fnatic is a really good team, and they're the underdogs, so they have that going ahead of them.
Empire versus Fnatic, I think Empire would take it, and hopefully we'll beat DarkZero and face Empire the winner's bracket.
In my group, I think obviously my team is the team to watch, but I think Shepard from Empire is really good. Magnet from Fnatic, he's our IGL, I think, and for FaZe, I think Mav is a really good player. Message to my opponents is just be ready.
My message from the opponents are just be careful. We are dangerous.
Dangerous indeed, as they have proven so far through this series, but so are their opponents. Both these teams, FaZe and DarkZero, still waiting to get started in the last match, or last map rather, in this best of 3. We are waiting on one person to get in, and actually you could tell by the reactions on FaZe, we have just gotten that final player back into the lobby. There's the smiles, rightfully so.
He's back. Cameraman is back.
Yeah, he's made it back in. We're good. So we can, I don't know. Oh, that again?
I honestly don't know why that keeps happening.
Yeah, this is the weirdest thing. Well, we do know.
It sounds like an old, 16-bit explosion from, a Game Boy Advance game, or not even a Game Boy Advance game, I guess, just a normal Game Boy game. So, you don't get to see it, but yeah, everybody's in the lobby.
Yeah, we got everybody, so as soon as it's called as ready, we will unpause the game, which, by the way, we can do. That is so cool. So you can't do it on an online build, but you could do it on a LAN build. You could pause, so we can just stop the match. I know, right? A revolutionary concept. It's amazing.
Only 1 minute until we're back in the action here. It's been a great set of matches so far today. All of them actually have been really enjoyable to watch when I've had a chance. As we did have that earlier second matchup, I got to watch a bunch of G2 versus Rec, and it was quite enjoyable.
You know the craziest thing about that whole thing is that the competition right now is just group stages. So this isn't exactly the highest level of competition we're going to see. I mean,
right.
All of the teams and all the players coming into this are all at that highest level. So we're not going to be questioning that. It's more a note on these teams that are all still prepared and getting ready for going into the actual main event. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, and you think this is good. It's going to get better.
Yeah. I always find that there is this large leap between everything at a major group stages and then main event. They're very different from each other in terms of how they end up playing out.
And defuse as many bombs as they can.
Not only in terms of the matches, but also in terms of the grandeur and the pressure on the players and what we actually see happen in those matches. Now, we are going to be going back to Kitchen here for DZ. See how this plays out for them.
So as I said, every single site was available. So you can go anywhere you want, and DarkZero has had some success, obviously, so they have a preference, but where are they going to go now? Well, you said the same thing. It's Kitchen. So how are they going to handle this Kitchen defense differently? Well, they came very close on the previous round, and then before that, they were gifted a little bit by the fact that FaZe just decided to run on in. So I don't think we're going to see that kind of charge from FaZe. As you said, the Goya was able to defang that assault.
Such a nice word.
Thank you.
Drone's ready.
Well, it's a study take up top, just to start off. And it doesn't appear like any of DZ is holding aggressively on that second floor, which is very odd choice, almost. At least from what we can see. There's no real pressure being committed. Oh, there's one person upstairs in what appears to be trophy statuary. Yes, there it is. Very, very close. It's Skies right now inside a trophy. Now, just because the Scorpion has been buffed does not mean that Ella is back. All it means is that she is more viable. There goes a Goyo shield, and Skies will now be aware that somebody is at least within the vicinity.
I feel like, honestly, the effects of the new Ella, or the renewed Ella, I guess, are going to be felt much more at a lower level.
Yes.
But she is still proficient even at this level as well. I think she's been brought into relevance again, is the way I would put it. But the question of whether or not that should be reverted is hotly debated, I'm sure, amongst pros. But what we do know is that the Guzman is going to slow down that push and through connector from that Ella. It's going to shave a few seconds off the round and off the clear upstairs.
Good to hear one of those concussions go off. There will be a bit of sibling rivalry here where both Sophia as well as Ella will have reduced effect from each other's concussions. So that's something to keep in mind of, depending on where Skies ends up executing on a retake or a flank, should he choose to do so, which it looks like he's not going to choose to do that, but he is nowhere to be found. He's on a deep lurk down below on the south side of Villa, very far off the action. 45 seconds is all FaZe has to work with, as there's been absolutely no action so far between these two teams. No deaths. I don't even think we've seen bullets get shot at one another. And as I say that, there is indeed a down onto Astro. He's going to try to crawl to safety and get himself back up as Yuna is gone. There's one from FaZe as Ion tacks on, and there's Mint off of the board for DarkZero. Astro picks himself back up, so the withstand ends up working. 20 seconds remaining. FaZe, you've got to get something going if you want this to happen. It's only Mint that's down. Skies will find cameraman. This lurk from Skies works out quite effectively, and he'll take control of that second floor. A beautiful shot from Ion, who flies under the radar. C4 goes out in front of him. Does it do enough damage? No, but Eclipse's SMG-11 does. Diffuser planted successfully, and it's a 2v2. Everybody is still upright. Skies will drop and just absolutely obliterate Mav. Look at Astro's HP. One bullet from that Scorpion will do the trick. Shotgun in Eclipse's hands. He'll clutch it instead and have no problem disabling the diffuser for DarkZero to prevent FaZe from getting a third round in a row.
Big win there for DarkZero, and they go up 3-2. You can see, though, honestly, like, not exactly hyped faces inside of DZ. Again, I would describe this team as being another day in the... Oh, no. I'm sorry, I had to interrupt myself there because we have another technical pause.
So it is on FaZe's side, and there has been another issue, so we will...
You can see it on cameraman's face. I think that's how we all feel right now.
We are all cameraman's face.
We are all cameraman's face. Do it up some more. Now we're all Mav's face.
What a beautiful face.
Mm-hmm.
We are all Astro's face.
What was that one?
I'm not entirely sure, but as you can see, there's a large tree as he is confirming.
Yeah, so...
Conferring with the admins.
So actually, last time it was one player disconnected, and now 2 players have disconnected. We don't know what the issue is. We do know there's an issue.
We will await further information.
Oh, what? Hey, somebody just made it back in.
Mav is back in. Congratulations, Mav. Welcome back.
So now we're waiting for cameraman. While we wait, we'll stare into the soul.
What would you like to talk about today, Michael?
It's been a really good day. We've had some amazing competition, and it's actually not cameraman who was gone. I was wrong. It was Ion, and he's back. So we'll figure. Hopefully that gets sorted out soon. But yeah, it's been a really amazing day. I think we've been on the B stream all day. And here, it's just been fantastic. If you are watching right now, and I'm not sure if they started up the A stream again yet, but if you're watching right now and you didn't check out the streams or the matches that we had earlier on B stream, I would highly recommend that you go and do that when you've got time later. Now, of course, that is going to be TSM versus Rogue. Is the main one that I would recommend that you go check out. Now, we are getting back into this match, though, with DarkZero being up 3-2. Now, that is being up 3-2 on the defensive side of Villa, so that's not exactly the craziest advantage.
Final defense here for DarkZero, as that was a lot faster than I had feared it might be.
It was gonna be like 30 minutes or something.
I don't know, Michael. I have no idea. I just work here.
Same.
Same. Yeah, I don't know. I just work here. So, but anyway. Very final defense for DarkZero, and they're going to go over to Aviator and Games, which they have only gone to once so far. They were successful here. It was open on the previous defense, but they opted instead to go down to Kitchen. So,
yes. Aviator is a solid site. They haven't gone to trophy is the interesting thing. We haven't seen DZ do trophy.
That's what I said. For some reason, DarkZero is not particularly keen on going to the site that most teams like as their secondary. Instead, it's been 3 Kitchen defenses, 1 living room defense, and 2 Aviator defenses for DarkZero. Not exactly the same kind of pattern that you see from teams when they go to defend. But I mean, the living room defense came very, very close. If you remember, it came down to that 1v1, or actually technically a 1v2 with Yuna clutching. It could have been a very winnable situation for DarkZero.
No, actually, I remember seeing all these players at breakfast this morning, and it's 7 p.m. now, so they've been awake for a good long time. They have got to be getting sluggish at this point with all these breaks we've been having in the middle of their match. It's constant up and down, go, 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 and then stop. It's weird, and I'm sure it's going to be adversely affecting them. Of course, it will affect each of these players the same way. So I'm not going to give an advantage to anyone or anything like that. But yeah, that's something to note. It's a marathon for these teams.
Yeah. And who knows how much warm-up they've had as well. There's
True.
There are teams that have wanted to scrim and teams that have not been particularly interested in scrimming, so...
It's a difference of opinion on that.
Absolutely. Some teams like to go in and not be too, worn down or fatigued and like to go in with fresh eyes, and some like to be warmed up. And, when I talked to Bagel, the coach of TSM, in the very first matchup of the day, he said, we got off to a sluggish start because we didn't have our warm-up scrim. All the guys felt cold. So, who knows? Who knows how these teams like to play this out? But anyway... Like we would imagine from Villa, this has been a bit of a slower matchup than on previous maps. Unsurprising, the Toxic Canister goes off and it will stop and be an impasse for FaZe to be able to head towards that classical hallway. There's nobody from DarkZero playing at 90. Skies is the only person that's potentially close enough to get over there, and he is once again on a deep lurk. He's in Astro right now. He's miles away from being able to get towards the site, as it looks like FaZe is gearing up for an execute. I don't know if Skies thinks that someone from FaZe is nearby, but there goes another Toxic Canister, and it will be both Ion and Yuna in a position to take some damage. It's only Ion right now that's doing so. 30 seconds left. Cameraman on Repel. If he swings into 90, Skies will get that call, or at least hear the noise, and will be able to strike. But opening things up, it's Hot and Cold with the opening frag for DarkZero. As they want to continue that, what a shot from Hot and Cold as the grenade goes over top of him, and it looks like he is it down on Mav now as well. Astro on a fraction of HP. It's Cameraman in this position where he's going to be in really rough shape. 1v5, and he will tussle with Skies, but a flawless round from DarkZero to end their half. And how about it? A 4-2 as they propel towards attack. They're in the spot that they want to find themselves in.
Absolutely massive round from Hot and Cold. And he's done some pretty amazing things from that position actually in the past. Last time he was on Astro. Or not Astro, rather Aviator. Correction. But... you can only go there so many times, and DarkZero will end that first half in the advantaged side. 4-2, that's good. That's not, perfect. It's not flawless. FaZe still has a good chance of winning this now that they get to defend on Villa. It'll be trophy room, statuary room for FaZe this next round. The very first defense they'll bring out. That last round was quite interesting. You were right in that DZ had a really strange setup. They didn't have anyone by 90 to try and pressure the push in through West Hall, but clearly they knew that Hotton was going to win those gunfights, so they just didn't care. So smart planning, I guess, from DZ, because Hotton did win those, all 3 of them. Impressive form from him, especially with an SMG-11. If those had come in quicker succession right next to each other, then you wouldn't have had enough ammunition in the SMG-11 to actually get those wins.
Yeah.
But because of that little bit of cover in the middle of games, there was time for him to reload and cover for him to reload. It's quite interesting.
5 seconds left.
Trophy, the only site that DZ did not defend, the very first site that FaZe defend.
Such is the way that these teams play one another, Michael. Such is the prophecy foretold.
Absolutely.
I believe that's what they would say at least.
I concur.
I'm glad. So, for trophy statuary, assemble yourself over towards Master, take control of Study, put somebody downstairs, and waste almost an entire magazine as Hyper gets nice and ready to head on in. FaZe Clan have a couple people that are positioned inside of Aviator and Games, where we are used to seeing teams defend. We can see it from the silhouettes. Oh, what a toss from Yuna and Hyper. You're all warmed up, but you're going to cool off after that one. Opening kill for FaZe, and it comes in spectacular fashion.
It just makes you feel bad when you die at the beginning of a round like that. You're like, oh, great, I don't get to play. I mean, like, what is Hyper going to do? Is he going to just not walk in? I mean, going to wait a couple more seconds? No, it's unlucky is the word, guys.
Nobody's bothering to watch that. Yuna's there. He sees the opening, and he takes it on the hot and cold. But there might be a push from DarkZero into Vault if that's the case. Yuna would be in trouble. No, they'll stand pat for the time being. DarkZero knowing that with losing 2, you don't want to be going flying blind. And it's instead Mint who gets droned on in and he catches Yuna. So, he takes 2 of your teammates down. You avenge them, but you're still at a loss. DarkZero with 1.5 minutes still to go.
I was going to say, unlucky for Hyper, very well played from Yuna, and a great roam from him over by Games Aviator. Now FaZe find themselves in a great spot, even though they lost Yuna after he got that double piece. Plenty of time, though, to be fair, for DarkZero. They don't need to rush themselves here. They have established some amount of control. The tricky bit here is that DarkZero doesn't have enough manpower to put anyone on the Master balcony. Because they can't put anyone on Master balcony, the defenders are going to get to use Master to hold the crossfire. So this is pretty much unwinnable for DZ unless they do something absolutely crazy. But this is like a really difficult crossfire to deal with. Eclipse will get 1 kill from the Astro Repel. And there's a nade from Skies. Suddenly, it's very winnable for DZ. In fact, they're in the advantage 3-2. I guess I spoke too soon.
Really excellent coordination there from the EMP to burn out the ADS, flush it out, and then have the frag grenade land at the feet of FaZe. Now Astro and Cameraman will do their darndest, as DarkZero still have time to work with. And it will get harder for FaZe. It has been the good, the bad, and the ugly so far for them. TC, or that's the Vector rather, in the hands of Cameraman. Extended barrel on it so he can do damage at longer range. He'll see for just a fleeting moment Skies emerge, and Cameraman is marked for death. Yet another round for DarkZero as they will take their very first attack in triumphant fashion.
Great job there for DZ. And that is going to be 5-2 in favor of DarkZero. Biggest thing there is that's 3 rounds in a row for DarkZero, which, to my recollection, is very rare. I think we've seen that maybe once before. Yeah. So far through this best-of-3 series on the 3rd map, we have seen 2 cases of 3 rounds in a row. And actually, both on the side of DarkZero. Came at the end of the last map, map number 2. And now, it's come at the half transition in this map. That could be detrimental to FaZe overall in this best of 3. You know, this is crazy because you look at the way that these teams are playing with just so much invested, so much on the line, so much emotion even showing on their face. And you would think that this is an elimination match, but it's not. It's, yeah, okay, it's going to be easier for you if you win here. Way, way easier. But it's not the end of the world if you lose. You'll still get a second chance. We're in the groups right now. And even after we get out of the groups, a reminder for those who don't know, we have actually a loser bracket in the playoffs, which is, we've never done that in a major before. That's huge for us, and that's going to be even more safety nets.
The loser of this matchup, spoilers inbound for those that haven't watched the other match, the loser of this matchup will play Fnatic tomorrow as Empire won 2-0. It was a very close first map. The second was a 7-2 victory for Empire, and they will go on tomorrow looking to leave the group in first place. It's going to be a tough road for whether you're the winner or the loser. Fnatic are no slouch of a team, and then the same thing applies for Empire, who had a bit of a lull towards the end of last season, but have managed to regain their footing and are now looking just as terrifying as they used to. So DarkZero might have a dance with death himself in the face of Empire, or in the shape of Empire. We'll see. FaZe Clan do not look like they are the same team on Villa as they did on either of the previous maps. In fact, FaZe Clan have been on almost a steady decline in terms of results since map number 1, where they narrowly edged out DarkZero to win their map choice.
It's been a weird one, yeah,
Attackers'
for FaZe.
objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Interesting Valkyrie camp. That one's getting used a lot. I bet you that sees most of the balcony, if not all of it. And I like I said, I imagine that one will be picked up in ranked fairly quickly. And I'm sure plenty of people in the chat are going like, actually, Kickstar, I already used that one in ranked. I am champion rank 20, and I use it every day. And
Is that what it sounds like?
Hmm?
Is that what it sounds like?
I think so, yeah. It's an estimation. Now, Trophy didn't work out great for FaZe, and so they're going to try something a little bit different here. But they are also going to be roaming by Trophy while they defend Aviator, and that's going to expend some of the utility and time from DarkZero. And they have to clear out this side of the map so that they can launch an attack onto the actual bomb site.
Hyper is fearless on this entry, but he has a drone accompanying him along the way. Multiple people from FaZe down below as Astro somehow manages to not die despite taking a beating, and then Cameraman just gets shredded by Skies. So DarkZero decides to read into this downstairs roam and seemingly counters it very effectively.
Solid counter, yeah. I mean, that first kill, but also the damage done to Astro. That's also really big.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to be winning many gunfights, that's for sure.
No Doc there to be able to give Astro a little bit more life, so he's just a single bullet away from death. It gets worse, too, if members of FaZe start to drop around him. There's a mark through the wall and a spray, and it downs Yuna, but Skies doesn't know that. So you'll have to capitalize and pick up the Goyo, who will be bleeding out and leaving a trail in his wake as he just slowly inches away from conflict. That's rough, but there's Astro on 1 HP fragging very effectively. Mav is in on it too, and this is a 3v3 at this point because you have the immobilized Yuna down below.
He actually could get picked up conceivably. The diffuser is downed. You can see Eclipse is wary of a flank from the main stairs, rightfully so. There is a player at the top of those main stairs. That's going to be the Maestro.
There's a frag grenade that's going to get tossed on in through the yellow gas that's in front of the sledge. And Skies is putting in great work this round. There goes Yuna, say goodbye. Astro finds Skies, very limited HP. The IQ comes to the rescue, down goes Mav and Astro. And it's all on Ion's shoulders in a 1v2. Everybody's got full HP, no utility left for the smoke, but the time will definitely favor the defense. Unable to control the SMG-11. Ion will have to get a little bit closer, but it's match point for DarkZero. Now you can see that Skies is obviously fired up as he likes that one. He had a very important round for his team, and FaZe now are staring at only one more round here on Villa.
And was that the rare BC smile? That was beautiful to witness. Now, it looks like DarkZero are in stride. They're looking very solid on these attacking rounds, and that is in stark contrast to what we saw from the attacking rounds of FaZe. FaZe got 2 attacking rounds. So, in theory, it is possible for FaZe to muscle up and just win all of the defenses from here on out and push it to OT. In theory. It's totally possible. Just not very likely. We don't see that very often. It is looking like DZ are going to be able to walk away with this one. Trophy is the next defense here for FaZe. We'll see how they do on that. It was the first bomb site that FaZe tried. Last round, a lot of the result for that last round came down to the roam clear downstairs. That spray through the wall from Skies based on the mark, huge. Downing Yuna did allow the rest of DZ to maneuver downstairs, despite their not knowing that. And instead, they rotated elsewhere, but they had effectively cleared out the problem that was those downstairs players. Those C4s from below, any kind of potential pressure from the flanks, it was dealt with. So DarkZero could consolidate their efforts and focus on the site take. They did just that. And as they were rotating to the site, more and more FaZe players expose themselves and die.
Yeah.
And then DZ sweep up the last few in the site. Actually, only 1 kill that I can recall happened on site there.
I mean, DarkZero took control of that bottom floor so quickly, and we saw, what, 3 members of FaZe that were down there, one of whom ended up trying to rotate on up, and they just got really unlucky. That Valkyrie, the opening pick, was very unlucky where they were rotating the Goyo through the wall. That was very unlucky. We said that DarkZero couldn't catch a break, but I guess everything, all the luck is starting to come to them right when they need it the most. And I mean, if you're a DarkZero fan, I think at this point, you're kind of happy that it seems that the Celestial Access has tilted in your favor.
So the thing that I really want to highlight, that I'm noticing most about this match overall, and you talked about how FaZe have started to, they're on a slow decline. DarkZero is starting to catch a lot more breaks.
Yeah.
I think the biggest reason to suggest that, to push these into being is that DarkZero are hesitating a whole lot less. I remember in map number 1, so many moments where I'm like, yeah, throw the C4, throw the C4. He waits 2 seconds, doesn't throw the C4, and misses out on the kill. Peek the angle, you have the information, peek the angle, he waits 2-3 seconds, doesn't peek the angle. This is players on DarkZero.
Yeah.
Hesitating, delaying unnecessarily, and opening up windows of opportunity for FaZe. DZ is not doing that much, if at all, anymore. They're really not, they're just not hesitating.
Yeah.
They're going for plays, going for picks, and it's working out great for DZ. And I think it's because they've acclimated to playing against FaZe. As weird as that sounds, they've gotten used to their opponent, and they're starting to play in stride now, rather than second-guessing themselves.
These teams do stack up well against each other. They counter each other's specific play styles. I think the Monty ban was very smart by DarkZero, especially on FaZe's attacks, as FaZe were only able to get 2 rounds, but on defense, there's still some bounce back, obviously, for FaZe that is possible. This match is by no means out of reach. A C4 will open things up. As Yuna finds Hyper, this was the same thing that happened on Trophy Statuary in round number 7, and now in round number 9, it's going to happen again. Eclipse with a beautiful shot onto Astro through a very small opening in that soft wall, and it's back to a 4v4. 40 seconds to go. Can DarkZero be able to put this away and find themselves facing off against Empire tomorrow? Well, they'll have to get on into the building, and there's the smoke that gets spotted playing by the triple panel wall. Frag grenade goes, but you have to burn out the ADS, and there goes a jump out from Cameraman. On to Hot and Cold, it's heating up now. Another from FaZe's Cameraman has come alive. Mav with 1, and FaZe Clan will shut the door on DarkZero, putting this one away early. They're going to make them work for it. DZ still has their work cut out for them, because there's plenty of time for FaZe to turn this around.
3 main points of contact there are the 3 main reasons why FaZe managed to win it. They managed to get 2 kills from Mav inside of Trophy, denying the push in through connector. But then there was also the smoke inside of Statuary, using as gas canisters to deny that push and open up a crossfire for DZ. So great little piece of denial there from the smoke. And then there was also, finally, and in my opinion, most importantly, the run out from Cameraman on Master Balcony. Now the reason that's most important is because there was only 1 player from DZ on Master Balcony. And after that player was dealt with, I believe it was Hot and Cold, after that player was dealt with, correction, he was Eclipse. There was no way for DZ to resume pressure on Statuary Master and to establish a crossfire with the other players on DZ who were pushing in from the main building. So, great run out from Cameraman. He also even manages to put another kill on the board over by Statuary right after. So yeah, Cameraman, Mav, and the smoke. I believe that was Ion, because he has been consistently playing smoke.
10 seconds left before insertion.
It's actually strange, the roles that Ion plays. He can play really aggro fragging roles, but then he can default to playing these hard support roles and still clean up. He's actually very similar in playstyle to Skies on the other team, or Skies is more similar to Ion. I would say that Ion is more similar to Skies just because Skies has been around longer, but when you look at it, both of them can play entry roles, both of them can play support when need be. Not usually on attack, but on defense. It's also a role that Nesk, I think, is the one that really stands out in my mind. Nesk would play very aggressively on attack, and then would play smoke on defense, and would still kill everything that happened to come across his sights. So,
well, right now, speaking of, I was going to say, right now the SMG-11's in a really good spot in terms of a killing machine, and Skies is going to highlight that as he eliminates Astro over by Astro. As the room is called Astronomy.
Yeah. Funny pun. But It's very similar to what we just saw in the previous round, is that when the sight is on one side of the map, you're going to go for the other. And of course, instead of taking study to then move towards trophy and statuary, you're now going to take trophy and statuary and then move from there over towards aviator and games. 1 minute has been burned off of the clock. Astro is down, and DZ still have utility, as do FaZe. But there's not a lot for FaZe. There's a nitro cell, maybe 2, and then Ion, of course, will have those toxic canisters. Indeed, there is still a nitro cell in Cameraman's hand. What is being brought by Yuna is the real question. He's been bringing a nitro cell, and he has one right there with him, yes. He's been playing nitro cell operators, so will not be quite as successful to take Hyper out early, which is good for Hyper.
Yes. Yes. So DarkZero currently in control of this round, firmly in control, I would say. The big thing is that they don't have a lot of ground covered for the amount of time that is left, I would say, as well. So there's definitely something missing here for DZ. They're going to need to start working on pushing into study, for example. Mid's going for upside down rappel to try and challenge the top of main stairs, as well as EMPing the wall. It's a really important rappel here. If he loses it, that's bad. That's really bad, because there is actually a player at top main. That's, I believe, the Maestro of Mav.
They have the ability to knock down these Goyo shields. Mav might end up losing this volcanic shield in front of him as he's playing around it. And this is going to be very challenging for him in case it gets blown open in his face. And the upside down rappel will obviously not help. When's the defuse going to come out? Are you going to pull off and execute DarkZero? Yuna with one on Disguise. Back to a 4v4, and the Maestro is just under watch as Mav has only taken 25 HP. Another from Yuna. He has had a great defensive round, but there's 2 from DarkZero. Mav is still in his position, very safe behind the shield. He's going to have to do an awful lot of work as the plant goes down from hot and cold, and things are going to get tough for FaZe. Hot and cold will just inch away, and it might actually be even tougher for DZ. It's a 1v2, but look at Ion's HP. Look at Mav's position. He only got dealt damage earlier on. So what do you do if you're down as hot and cold? You're going to give calls, and Hyper is going to rely on that. You're essentially just a drone at this point, but now you're gone. If both members of FaZe stack up, this is very winnable. Waiting for the smoke to push out. Now Mav is going to have to engage, and he knows that he's pressed for time. Hyper just narrowly missing the shot as he'd already taken the smoke out of action. He sees the gun barrel, and that's it. DarkZero will knock FaZe down to the elimination match tomorrow. It was a nail-biter, and it went back and forth, and it was a long 3.5 hours between these two teams, but every moment as exciting as the last. DarkZero will come out the victor today.
So, just like in Pro League, DarkZero will push it to the absolute limit. DZ refuses to win with room to spare. They refuse. But when they do, having beaten out FaZe, that's a pretty significant victory, and one of the biggest ones I think that they're going to have to face in this whole tournament, actually. Based on how close that was, though, it does bode well for FaZe moving forward in these group stages.
There's history behind these players. Mint and Hot and Cold used to be great friends when Moringa was on this squad, with this team going all the way back to when they were Font Energy many, many moons ago. So they're good friends. They've been in the same bracket a number of times. There is still a chance that they could play each other yet again in that very final and pivotal day. If DarkZero loses to Empire and FaZe Clan beats Fnatic, then that's what ends up happening as we get a rematch between these two teams. And well, God bless to whoever ends up casting it, because you're going to need an awful lot of caffeine at this point. But not too much, because you might end up having a heart attack from how exciting that action is. They were very evenly matched. Villa, obviously, not quite as close as we thought it would be, but Coastline was only a 7-4. It wasn't that close either.
Overall, I know that some of the maps weren't close in terms of the round count, but I gotta say, that was a really close match. And the rounds, each of them, almost all of them, went down to the wire.
Yeah. I expected this kind of fireworks from a couple different matches today, and while it hasn't exactly been a letdown, I don't think there's any way to say that this match didn't live up to its billing. There were some extraordinary plays, but I mean, if I'm looking at somebody who really showed up today, I mean, there's 3 of them on DarkZero, and there's 2 of them on FaZe Clan. For FaZe Clan, I don't think you can doubt both Ion as well as Mav, but if you're looking at DarkZero, my attention is mostly fixed on Hot and Cold, who played a much more, I would say, reserved style for map number 3. For maps 1 and 2, he was on fire for most of those rounds. He let Hyper take over, he let Skies take over, and Eclipse in particular, I thought played extremely, extremely well.
See, that's the difficult thing, isn't it, about DarkZero, is it's really, really hard to put a finger on one player and say, this one player, he played better than all the rest. Because the truth is that they're such a versatile lineup, they could pretty much pivot to any player whenever it's necessary. And if somebody's feeling too much weight, too much pressure on their shoulders, somebody else on DZ almost always steps in. And we saw it be a really close victory overall, and we saw FaZe put up a heck of a fight, but DZ, I think, really well earned that match win.
We should have the bracket for you as well, just so you can see what we're looking at here. In Group A, when it's ready, we can just bring it up on the screen, because, of course, this is actually the first time, Michael, that our matchup finished after the other match that started. That's kind of crazy, because our first and second matches, we were the first match done, and then this one
was the longest one.
This one was the longest one, which is okay, because we made up for lost time with
so it was about
second match.
Standard, I guess.
I mean, this was still 3.5 hours. That's pretty long for a best of 3.
Well, I mean, no, standard based on, like, for 3 maps, or 3 matches, we had the first two were so fast. And then this one was long, so it compensated for it, I guess. Let's actually, we have the bracket now, so we're gonna do that. Here you go. You can take a look at what's been happening in Group A.
Now, so Team Empire, obviously a 2-0 over Fnatic. That first map went really, really late. It was an 8-7, but then the second map was a 7-2 for Empire. Not as close as we had hoped, because obviously, for me, I'm not cheering for any teams. I'm cheering for a good best of 3 that ideally goes the distance. But our matchup that we casted, FaZe Clan versus DarkZero, I don't need to do much hoping, because it indeed went the distance. We had overtime in the very first map, but then slowly but surely FaZe Clan just fell off over maps 2 and 3, which is why they're down in the elimination match going up against Fnatic, with DarkZero squaring off against Team Empire. This is one of the 2 groups that tends to be labeled the group of death alongside of Group B, and I wouldn't want to be a team, any of those 8 teams, I wouldn't want to be in either Group A or Group B.
And see, that is why FaZe and DarkZero were fighting so fiercely here today to get that map win, or not map win, but, well, every win that they could manage to squeeze out of this, because, yeah, okay, you got a second chance, but wow, it's not going to be exactly easier, is it? So there's a lot of competition squeezed into this one group, and we see, honestly, we see that for all of the groups in this Invitational. I think this is, we always like to say, event after event after event, it's the more competitive than it was in the last time, more competitive than it was the last time. But this is the first major where I'm really feeling like, oh wow, there's not a lot of room to breathe at this LAN.
I feel like the amount of teams where, and this is no shade to those teams, but the amount of teams where you think to yourself, like, this is going to be an easier match. There was, you know, last Invitational, there was probably like 2 or 3. The Raleigh Major, there was probably like 2. And then it's like, now I think at best there's maybe 1. That, you know, that's
maybe
it.
1.
And when you're in a place where G2 is the invited team and people are saying, you know, G2 is going to be deadweight, that's how you know how high that level of competition is. But that's it for Michael and I today. Thanks so much for tuning in. There's going to be another match here on this stream. It'll be Blue and Stokes joining you for Ninjas in Pajamas versus Liquid. But until then, a short break. We'll throw over to Stream A with some more Rainbow Six action.